Chapter 15:10. Since Shao Qin saved the three Holy Lands, the remnant factions of the various Holy Lands and countless cultivators fleeing for Heavenly Star Island. The originally bloody Heavenly Star Island welcomed a temporary peace, gaining some time to catch a breather. However, everyone knew that this was just the calm before the storm. An even bigger storm was still slowly building up. The Treasure Master would not leave things at that. After all, the Treasure Master had taken the initiative to retreat from the Zodiac Hall and the 8 immortal statues on Myriad Fiend Island. No one knew what the Treasure Master's true intentions were or what ulterior motives he had. On the secret island where the Treasure Master's residence was, religious buildings with dark colors and a dark style were erected all over the island. The walls of the Black Temples had strange pictures that had never appeared in the Kunlun realm before. Countless strange statues stood in a huge plaza in the center of the island. A mysterious black cave in the plaza had an endless stream of cultivators being used as sacrifices. Horrified screams came from the depths of the cave before coming to a sudden stop. This made everyone's hair stand on end, making them tremble in fear. The cave was actually an altar that no one had seen before. The Treasure Master silently watched the cultivators being pushed into the cave. Aside from the saber scar on his face, no one could see his true appearance. It was like he was shrouded in fog, just like his mysterious identity. From the start to the end, the Treasure Master's true appearance had always been a mystery. Many black-clad old men stood at the edge of the altar, mending the complicated patterns. As cultivators poured in endlessly, a huge black figure appeared in the sky above the altar. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many figures descended from the sky and landed behind the Treasure Master. The young Treasure Master, Yi Ling, was among them. These were the Treasure Master's sons. However, they were adopted sons and not the real ones. Father, the strengthening of the immortal statues is complete. We can all use our magic treasures now. The young Treasure Master, Yi Ling, took a step forward, excitement flashing in his eyes. We can use our magic treasures now? The Treasure Master turned around. His tone revealed some interest as he said softly, "This group of people moves really fast. Let's go over and take a look." After he finished speaking, he opened his hands and a huge black screen enveloped everyone. Then, a black light flashed. The next time the Treasure Master appeared, he brought his adopted sons to the Penglai Sea. Yes, the maintenance and repair of the deity statues were all done by the cultivators of the Penglai Sea. Using the puppet pearl to imitate and refine the pearl was also the work of this group of immortal cultivators. 17 immortal statues hovered above the vast sea. One by one, cultivators wearing magic robes and stepping on all kinds of magic treasures flew around the immortal venerable. From time to time, a ray of spiritual light would shoot out and enter the statue. After experiencing the great battle, the immortal statue was completely renewed, becoming even more powerful. "Martial Granduncle, the Treasure Lord is here." A disciple quickly flew to an old man and bowed respectfully. This old man was the only remaining immortal Venerate Yunchen of the Penglai Sea. He was famous for his alchemy, and his alchemy fire had reached the pinnacle. His attainments in artifact forging were also quite deep. Naturally, the task of repairing the immortal statues was left to him. Hearing that the Treasure Lord had arrived, helplessness flashed on immortal Venerate Yunchen's face. Then, he waved his hand and dismissed the disciple. Then, he turned into a beam of flowing light and arrived at the transportation formation of the Penglai Sea. "Fellow Taoist Yunchen, I heard that the immortal statues can already use magic treasures. I have to credit you for this." The Treasure Lord smiled as he flew out of the transportation formation and greeted Immortal Venerate Yunchen. Immortal Venerate Yunchen did not say much. "Come with me." The group followed Immortal Venerate Yunchen and arrived at the place where the 17 immortal statues were. Immortal Venerate Yunchen waved his hand, and the immortal cultivators around the immortal statues immediately scattered. Only the 17 immortal statues remained standing in the sea, looking at the group with cold gazes. The statues gave off heavy immortal might. Even though they had been dead for millions of years, the might of these statues still made one's heart palpitate. It was hard to imagine how strong they were when they were alive. It was even harder to imagine what kind of enemy could make such strong immortals unable to escape death in the end. As an immortal cultivator, Immortal Venerate Yunchen felt very complicated as he stood before these immortal statues. Only when the Treasure Lord revealed a displeased expression did Immortal Venerate Yunchen recover his wits. Then, he took out the puppet pearl, and a beam of spiritual light shot out. Boom! An intense light burst out of the statues. The Treasure Lord's adopted sons were all knocked back. Only the Treasure Lord and Immortal Venerate Yunchen managed to remain safe. The Treasure Lord's face, which others could not see clearly, revealed a satisfied smile. An ancient magic treasure flew out of every immortal statue. There were flying swords, war banners, bells, ancient mirrors. Not bad. With these magic treasures, the combat prowess of the immortal statues increased by more than 50%. Oh, by the way, have you thought of a way to make up for the weakness in the heart? Immortal Venerate Yunchen shook his head and said, "There is no way around that. That move of the Blue Dragon King is an attack that comes from the inside. No matter how the exterior is strengthened, there is no way to avoid that move." The Treasure Lord frowned and said, "How troublesome. Fortunately, he does not dare to use that move casually. Let's leave it at that, then. Father, when are we going to make our move and capture that group of people from Heavenly Star Island in one fell swoop?" The young Treasure Master Yi Ling asked as he stepped forward. The Treasure Lord looked at the immortal statues and replied casually, "There's no rush. Use the treasure pearls first and familiarize yourselves with how to control the immortal statues and use the magic treasures." After the Treasure Lord left, Immortal Venerate Yunchen went to the waste of a spirit mountain in the Penglai Sea. A cultivator lived there. In a place where everyone in the Penglai Sea was immortal cultivators, this cultivator who was not from the Treasure Lord's residence was very different. This person looked very old and haggard. He looked very dispirited. However, he had a resounding name, Xie Changtian. That was right. This person was the good friend of the Thunder King back then. After the Thunder King died, he founded the Eternal Heavenly Sword School, Xie Changtian. This was the person that Xiao Qin once searched for. As Xiao Qin guessed, he was indeed in the Penglai Sea. He left? Xie Changtian did not say who he was. However, Immortal Venerate Yunchen knew that Xie Changtian was referring to the Treasure Lord. He left. Just like before, he is still unfathomable. He did not notice that you did something to him, right? It is not easy to hide from him. Xie Changtian sipped on his wine, as though he was talking about something insignificant and trivial. Immortal Venerate Yunchen said, "He won't. I am the only Immortal Venerate left in the world. No one can detect what I want to hide. No matter how strong he is, he will not discover it." Ha ha ha. You are crazy. For the sake of saving the Penglai Sea, 2 immortal venerates did not hesitate to die, seeking the ghost immortal Tao. However, you are personally sending the entire Penglai Sea to its grave. Xie Changtian took a large gulp of wine and guffawed somewhat crazily. He seemed drunk and sober at the same time. Immortal Venerate Yunchen looked at this pitiful person and said sullenly, "Actually, I always wanted to know why he did not kill you. Instead, he wasted so many resources to help you extend your life." Xie Changtian smiled and said, "It's fine. There is no harm in telling you. In any case, the situation is already set. He no longer cares about anything else. This is because in this world, only I have seen his true appearance. Only I know who he is. If he kills me, this news will spread to the entire world. However, it does not matter. Even if his identity is exposed now, it will not change anything. The situation is already set. The destruction of the Kunlun realm cannot be changed. What you are doing is pointless. Immortal Venerate Yunchun took a sip of wine and remained silent, not objecting. Those who had not seen the treasure master's true strength would never know how strong he was. Sky Dome Realm, ancient desolate land, hidden dragon lake. Chu Chaoyun, who wore the uniform of the Tianwu dynasty's royal clan, looked at the empty grave of the Tianwu emperor without saying anything. After helping Xiao Chen in the Kunlun realm, Chu Chaoyun brought the Sky Dome heart to this place, where he had stayed until now. Chu Chaoyun was not here to reminisce. He did not have a good impression of the first-generation Tianwu emperor at all. That first-generation Tianwu emperor was a sinner in Chu Chaoyun's heart, an enemy that he wanted to get rid of even if he did his best. The first-generation Tianwu emperor clearly possessed overwhelming strength. However, after establishing the Tianwu dynasty, he left, not caring about anything. To Xiao Chen, the Tianwu dynasty was just like a toy in a game. Even if he knew that the dynasty was destroyed, he would not be able to do so. Even if he knew that the dynasty was destroyed, all the members of the royal clan would die a miserable death without exception. What was the point? Since he did not put in the effort, why bother creating a dynasty? Did he not know the disaster that the destruction of the dynasty would bring to the royal clan? That kind of pain and torture, the sorrow of hiding in the dark like a mouse, the other party would never understand. Chu Chaoyun would never know that there was a person. Since he was young, people told him that he was the last bloodline of the Tianwu emperor in the Sky Dome realm. As such, he received all sorts of inhumane training. Hatred burned in Chu Chaoyun's heart like fire. Two beams of light, one black and one white, quickly flickered around his body. Black lines appeared on Chu Chaoyun's face, looking like demonic lines. These were the negative effects of the clash between light and darkness. The pain that came from cultivating the state of primal chaos far surpassed the imagination of ordinary people. Darkness and light were the two most opposing attributes in the world. Every time they clashed, the pain they brought could make one wish for death. Chu Chaoyun closed his eyes. After a while, the black lines on his face slowly receded. When he opened his eyes again, he revealed a calm and carefree smile. Actually, most of the time, Chu Chaoyun did not care about anything. He was a forgetful person in the first place. Whoosh! Many figures descended from the lake above. All the influential people of the Tianwu dynasty's remnant races appeared. If cultivators of the other Sky Dome realm were here, they would be greatly astonished. These people were all major characters of the Sky Dome realm. Young Master, Senior Ling Yu sent news. The 18 demon monarchs received orders from the Dark Church's Church Master, and are all on standby. They will enter the Kunlun realm with just one command. Chu Chaoyun nodded to indicate his understanding. Very good. Continue to wait for orders. When they make their move, we will make our move as well. After a pause, Chu Chaoyun suddenly added, Don't touch the Xiao clan's people. Kill all the other factions who block you. Once we make our move, we need to occupy the Sky Dome realm in the shortest time possible. Chapter 15:11. Everyone was making their final preparations. After returning to Heavenly Star Island, Xiao Chen did not show himself again. As more and more cultivators poured into Heavenly Star Island, things became extremely complicated. Many cultivators of different factions lived together in one city. It was hard to avoid conflicts. Clearly, it would be hard to manage this place with just the Dragon's Gate disciples. Fortunately, there were the 3 primes holding down the fort. There would not be any major disturbances, but small disturbances would come one after another. Over the past few days, Mo Chun and Lan Tianji had struggled to maintain order, managing all this mess. That was right, it was a mess. Some of the remnant factions were Holy Lands, some were ancient noble clans, and some were people of the evil sections. There were also many loose cultivator powerhouses, from sovereign martial emperors to ordinary martial saints. There were countless of them. Anyone who saw this chaotic flow of people, the refugees that poured in every day, would think of one word: chaos. This was not just an ordinary kind of chaos. The order that the heavenly starry ocean had maintained for 10,000 years had been broken. It would be hard not to fall into chaos. However, no matter how chaotic it was, they had to reorganize it. They could not allow it to fall into chaos. No one knew when the treasure master would charge over. These remnant factions and scattered cultivators needed to be reorganized. The upper echelon of the various factions argued non-stop. Some wanted to regroup and attack the root of the problem, eliminating the treasure master. Some suggested that with the Blue Dragon King escorting them, everyone could safely retreat to Kunlun Mountain. Everyone expressed their opinions, finding it hard to balance things out. Some wanted to live, and some could not bear to part with what they had built. Even though Mo Chun and Lan Tianji were smooth and slick people, they could not stop working, not daring to waste any time. After all, no one knew when the treasure master would charge over. The sooner they sorted things out, the better. To make use of these cultivators to defend Heaven Dragon City was the right path. Originally, Shao Chen thought that with the Blue Dragon Palace's 5-element absolute ceiling formation, Heaven Dragon City should be safe. Later on, he found out that the 5-element absolute ceiling formation could not cover the entire Heaven Dragon City. At best, it could cover the area around the City Lord's residence. He had no choice but to change his mind and use another array formation in the Blue Dragon Palace, the Worldly Absolute Dragon Array, to defend Heaven Dragon City. The Worldly Extinction Dragon formation was a pure defensive formation. Its weakness was that it did not initiate an attack. The advantage was that the defensive barrier was strong. If there were cultivators guarding the nodes, the defense would be even stronger. If it were at its peak, the Dragon's Gate disciples would have been able to block the attacks of these immortal statues. Now it was much weaker. However, Shao Chun had passed down the Yinyang Saber formation, making up for the difference in offensive power. Therefore, no one in the dragon sect was idle. Everyone started to move. As for Shao Chen, he naturally obeyed the old dragon horse's wishes. After returning, he immediately entered the Blue Dragon Palace. At this moment, the old dragon horse led Shao Chen to a medicinal pool in the Blue Dragon Palace. The medicinal pool was bubbling with steam, and mist pervaded the air. Just by standing at the side, Shao Chen could feel the ferocious medicinal energy surging in the medicinal pool without even soaking in it. The bubbling sounds were like ferocious beasts roaring and roaring. Shao Chen could even vaguely see all sorts of desolate illusions in the mist. That was a vast illusion with all sorts of mutated beasts roaring proudly in the mountains and rivers, fighting with the world. There was a ferocious white tiger with wings on its back that could shatter mountains with one stomp. There was a white wolf with snow-white fur and proud eyes that stood on a glacier for 5,000 kilometers. There was a golden lion with 9 heads and scarlet eyes. There was also a huge snake with a dim light radiating from its entire body. That was an extremely terrifying scene. All sorts of mutated beasts fought with the world, and even with the god. With just one look, Shao Chen found it somewhat unbearable. However, the blue dragon divine blood in his physical body stirred strangely. It felt like Shao Chen's blood was burning, his entire body surging with essence blood. The scarlet dragon seal representing the blood-soaked dragon emperor's inheritance above the veritable essence energy lake in his dantian trembled slightly. This is, Shao Chen showed a grave expression, sensing that this medicinal pool was extremely extraordinary. The old dragon horse revealed a proud expression as it said, "This is a medicinal pool made from the essence blood of 100 kinds of ancient ferocious beasts and 3,000 kinds of spirit herbs." During the Great Desolate Aeon, the pure-blooded dragon race ate raw meat and drank blood. The moment they were born, they would be baptized in this. Now, the pure-blooded dragon race is already extinct. The physical bodies of mixed-blood dragon race cultivators can endure the surging medicinal energy only when they reach the veritable personage realm. Now, only my blue dragon bloodline can possess this ancient medicinal pool in the entire dragon race. The medicinal pools in the other divine dragon inheritance palaces cannot compare to this. Xiao Chen asked out of curiosity, why? Because of the blood-soaked dragon emperor. Every time this medicinal pool is used up, he has to add a new ancient ferocious beast's essence blood. The dragon race has declined, and there are very few opportunities to hunt ancient ferocious beasts on a large scale. In the martial epoch, only the blood-soaked dragon emperor managed this. The blood-soaked dragon emperor. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Unexpectedly, the blood-soaked dragon emperor still had such horrifying means. In the future, you will know of the blood-soaked dragon emperor's fame in the great thousand realms. He is the true legend of my dragon race. You can say that you obtained his inheritance. You are very fortunate and honored. A light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes as he asked, however, when can I truly receive the blood-soaked dragon emperor's inheritance? Can I use it now? If he could use it, then the immortal statues outside and the treasure master would not be a match for him. The old dragon horse looked at Xiao Chen gravely. Not to mention the fact that you are not strong enough to obtain the inheritance, even if you could, don't use it. There is a limit in this abandoned land. Once you exceed a certain limit, you will suffer the attack of the heavenly Tao. If you do not want to die, don't ever use it carelessly. Also, don't use that martial technique that increases your combat prowess by 10 times. Such martial techniques are forbidden in the outside world. If you injure the enemy by 1,000, you will injure yourself by 10,000. It will leave hidden injuries in the physical body that are hard to recover from. Seeing that Xiao Chen did not seem to mind, the old dragon horse said sullenly, "Why is it called a forbidden art? It is because if you use it too much, you will forever lose the chance to become a deity." When Xiao Chen heard that, he felt stunned. Unexpectedly, there were such severe consequences. Then, he thought of something and asked, "Is there really a deity?" Of course. Every dragon emperor of my dragon race has to be a true god before they can assume the position. If you cannot become a deity, you will lose the chance to become a dragon emperor. Then, everything will be meaningless. I understand. However, where is the limit? The old dragon horse answered, "Right now, you have just entered the veritable essence stage, not even at small perfection. As long as you do not break through the veritable essence stage and enter the inessence stage, you will be fine." Xiao Chen rejoiced in his heart. This meant that he still had a lot of room for improvement. As for the physical body, you have already cultivated the blue dragon body nourishing art to the 3rd layer. You have to do your best to cultivate it to consummation. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and said, "I would like to. However, I do not have a secret treasure with a dragon soul. My cultivation speed is very slow. Before the seniors of the dragon race died, they would nourish this medicinal pool with the dragon soul. This is to protect the descendants of the dragon race from being possessed or injured by the remnant souls of ancient ferocious beasts." Xiao Chen felt slightly shocked. This small medicinal pool was much more complicated than he imagined. "Let's not talk anymore. Enter the medicinal pool first and stabilize your cultivation. Do your best to stay here for a while longer." The old dragon horse gestured for Xiao Chen to enter. Then, it slowly left, leaving Xiao Chen alone. After glancing at the misty medicinal pool, Xiao Chen took off his clothes, revealing his well-proportioned muscles. Her fair skin looked somewhat delicate. However, the explosive power contained within her was even more ferocious than a clap of thunder. Plop! Xiao Chen gently landed in the medicinal pool. At first, he did not feel anything. After a while, he felt his entire body heat up and his mouth dry. As the medicinal energy permeated his body, the blood in his body started circulating rapidly like a gushing river. Bestial roars came from his body, sounding horrifying and scary. Xiao Chen was greatly startled. Such speed made it impossible for him to calm down. Not to mention entering a state where he forgot about everything else, cultivating his cultivation technique, and stabilizing his cultivation. The ferociousness and tyranny of the medicinal energy far surpassed his expectations. Xiao Chen could not help roaring softly. Either he refined this medicinal energy or he vented out this energy. Otherwise, there would be only one result: exploding and dying. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, Xiao Chen felt many ferocious beasts in the medicinal pool charging and biting at his physical body. When it rains, it pours. Bad news came one after another. Xiao Chen's face immediately darkened. This is just the baptism of an infant dragon? This is simply too strong. Xiao Chen felt somewhat suspicious. A medicinal pool of this level. If something goes wrong, he will die. Calm down. Calm down. Xiao Chen did his best to suppress the heat in his body and the anxiety in his heart. At this moment there was no way out. Unless he jumped out now. However, that would not only be difficult, but it would also be a form of admitting defeat. He remembered that the old dragon horse told him to stay a while longer before it left. If the other party knew that he would come out after jumping in, who knew what expression it would make? However, what Xiao Chen did not know was that the old dragon horse and the other item spirits in the Blue Dragon Palace were all observing through a water screen in a meditation room at the side. Big Brother Dragon, isn't this too ruthless and risky? That is not the baptism of an infant dragon. It is the coming-of-age ceremony for an infant dragon. The girl in her prime could not help saying when she saw Xiao Chen's appearance, feeling some heartache. Risky? If I don't take risks, do I still have a chance? Back then, the Qing Emperor failed even though he was stronger than he was now. The situation now was even more complicated than 10,000 years ago. Xiao Chen's strength was not even comparable to the Qing Emperor's. There was only one result: failure. Not only will he die, but his friends and family will all die as well. The old dragon horse felt complicated in its heart. However, it still maintained an expressionless face as it spoke coldly. The black-clad old man said, "Don't worry. Even if Xiao Chen finds out, he will not blame us, because he will not be able to bear the consequences of failure." That was right. Xiao Chen was not afraid of death. However, if his friends and family were all going to die, he would definitely choose to risk it all. However, could the current Xiao Chen really endure this medicinal pool, which was originally used for the baptism of an infant dragon after it matured? Chapter 15:12. In the medicinal pool, Xiao Chen's life hung on the line. The ferocious medicinal energy caused his blood to surge. His blood was like a river, but it was not a clear and cool river. Instead, it was a river of magma that was burning with heat waves. Behind them, the ferocious beasts in the pool tore at their bodies. Every time they struck, they felt like vomiting blood. First, he had to solve the first problem. His qi and blood were surging too quickly, and the medicinal effects were too overbearing. There were two ways. The first was to vent it out, and the second was to refine it. It was obviously impossible to vent it out. That would be a waste. It was better not to enter the medicinal pool. There was only one way left, and that was to refine it. No matter how difficult it was, he had to refine it. Amid the pain and suffering, Xiao Chen did his best to remain calm. He had to circulate the purple thunder divine incantation. However, it really was difficult. The medicinal pool contained the blood of over 100 types of archaic vicious beasts. After the medicinal strength was released, it would be tyrannical and ferocious. His entire body felt like it was about to burst open. Just withstanding this pain was incomparably difficult. The mysterious ferocious beasts in the pool would be interrupted when they tried to mobilize their quintessence with great difficulty. The greatest taboo for true essence was to be interrupted. If true essence flowed backward, it would burn one's meridians, and one's tendons would feel as if they were being pricked by needles. Once, twice, thrice. After more than 10 experiments, all of them ended in failure, and with every failure, the pain would intensify. Inside the cultivation room, the old dragon horse and the other item spirits could not bear to see this scene. Their hearts clenched. They had no choice but to be ruthless. Right now, Xiao Chen was still too weak. There was no chance of success if they wanted to deal with the crisis outside. 0. Little fellow, don't blame me for being ruthless. You are one of the lucky ones of the dragon race to obtain the blood-soaked dragon emperor's inheritance. Unfortunately for you, you are weaker than many of your fellow geniuses in this banished land. At such a young age, he had to shoulder the entire Kunlun. This was an even greater misfortune. The old dragon horse sighed in its heart. If it knew what Xiao Chen had experienced along the way, it would have been shocked. This sigh would probably make them look at Xiao Chen in a new light. Fortune and misfortune are intertwined. Along the way, Xiao Chen had laughed, felt tired, cried, felt pain, and felt sad. He had already opened his eyes. At the very least, he lived in this world without being humble or pushy. He didn't bend his back or lower his head. He lived proudly until now. That was enough. Success. The azure-clad man staring at the water screen revealed an expression of joy and excitement. The old dragon horse quickly looked over. After failing 100 times, Xiao Chen finally succeeded in circulating the purple thunder divine incantation. All right. The normally calm and steady old dragon horse could not help but say good loudly. Everything was difficult at the beginning, but there was no need to fear the rugged and thorny road ahead. Only by taking the first step would there be a chance of success. If he didn't take that step, there was no chance of success. When the purple thunder divine incantation circulated in the medicinal pool, it became like a huge whirlpool. The medicinal energy contained in the blood fell into the small lake of veritable essence like a storm. The pressure that Xiao Chen faced immediately lessened, and the ferocious beating of his blood slowed down slightly. When the medicinal energy entered the originally calm veritable essence lake, it instantly surged. However, this kind of surging was different from before. It made Xiao Chen feel incredibly comfortable. This was the veritable essence energy slowly solidifying and condensing as the medicinal energy infused into it. As the medicinal energy continuously refined, Xiao Chen's condition improved. The redness on his face also became more natural. It no longer looked as scary as before, like blood would flow out at any moment. Now, he looked much better. Whoosh! When the purple thunder divine incantation completed a great cycle, Xiao Chen spat out a long mouthful of turbid qi. He immediately felt refreshed, like his body had been purified. Suddenly, Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes, and his right hand moved ferociously. Boom! Xiao Chen saw a ferocious beast being pulled out of the water. It was something formless. After it was pulled out, it struggled endlessly. It wanted to escape from Xiao Chen's hands. How can it be that easy? Now that he could divert some attention to deal with this ferocious beast, Xiao Chen naturally would not let it off. Xiao Chen clenched his fist, and the formless thing revealed itself. It turned out to be a huge snake giving off a dim light. However, it did not seem to be a true ferocious beast, just a strand of a ferocious remnant soul. It is already dead, yet it is still causing trouble. Xiao Chen's gaze turned cold, and he smashed it with a palm strike, scattering its body and soul. Plop! Plop! When the ancient ferocious beast remnant souls below saw the situation, they all leaped out of the water and launched themselves at Xiao Chen. These ancient ferocious beast remnant souls seemed to come to life in the hazy mist as they launched themselves at Xiao Chen. The entire scene was incredibly horrifying. The ancient ferocious beasts were ferocious beasts born during the Great Desolate Aeon. They were the descendants of the gods and demons, running amok in the Great Desolate Continent. Xiao Chen frowned slightly as he felt a huge pressure bearing down on him. His entire body trembled. Roar! Just at this moment, a loud dragon roar came from below the medicinal pool. Dragon might surged out, forcing back all these ferocious beast remnant souls. Xiaochen heaved a sigh of relief. It was finally quieter. The old dragon horse was right. There were indeed countless dragon souls guarding the bottom of the water. After Xiaochen stabilized his cultivation, he could absorb these dragon souls to cultivate the blue dragon body nourishing art. After the purple thunder divine incantation circulated 100 great cycles, the veritable essence energy lake in Xiaochen's body turned from the original white to a pure purple. After the baptism of the purple thunder divine incantation, the veritable essence energy became even purer and denser. Xiaochen's cultivation finally stabilized at small perfection veritable essence energy. What surprised Xiaochen even more was that the remnant medicinal energy entered his sea of consciousness. The sea formed by magic energy expanded several-fold once again. It felt like he was about to reach a bottleneck. There was also his physical body. His vital qi continued to grow. His initial 1,000 dragon force had increased several-fold, reaching 3,000 dragon force. The 10,000 dragon force of the heaven-punishing corpse god, who used his physical body to substantiate his Tao, was no longer an unreachable existence to Xiaochen. The many miraculous effects made Xiaochen wonder if this medicinal pool was as simple as the old dragon horse made it out to be. However, this doubt passed in a flash. After the ordeal, Xiaochen finally got used to the environment of this medicinal pool. I have to make good use of it. Xiaochen relaxed his body and slowly sank down. After a long while, his feet touched the bottom of the medicinal pool, and he stood at the bottom. Xiaochen did not dare to open his eyes. The essence blood of the ancient ferocious beasts in this medicinal pool was too tyrannical. Furthermore, the eyes were the weakest part of the body. If he got careless and burned his eyes, it would be problematic. Xiaochen's six senses were very sharp. He could sense many dragon souls in the surroundings, some strong and some weak. These dragon souls all showed their goodwill to Xiaochen's arrival. Several of them even took the initiative to come over, waiting for him to absorb them. Xiaochen entered deep thought. It looked like many people would sink to the bottom of the medicinal pool. They would either use the dragon souls to strengthen their souls or cultivate some kind of cultivation technique like Xiaochen. The dragon souls at the bottom of the medicinal pool were already used to it. This was a kind of feedback. If one day, after Xiaochen died, he would leave behind his dragon soul here to benefit his descendant. Xiaochen no longer hesitated. He sat down cross-legged and started to cultivate the blue dragon body nourishing art at the bottom, where the medicinal energy was the most ferocious. The blue dragon body nourishing art had a total of 5 layers. Xiaochen already cultivated it to the 3rd layer. As long as he made 2 breakthroughs at the bottom, he would reach peak consummation. According to the introduction of the blue dragon body nourishing art, after reaching peak consummation, the physical body would become the bona fide blue dragon war body. Xiaochen could materialize the blue dragon war armor as he pleased. When he grabbed, it would be like the claw of an ancient blue dragon. He could easily tear apart the physical bodies of ferocious beasts as if they were dry weed. At the same time, on the island of the Treasure Master's residence, the Treasure Master's adopted son finally returned from the Penglai Sea with 17 immortal statues. After the immortal cultivators refined these immortal statues, not only did their defenses increase significantly, but their movements also became more nimble. Even more horrifying was that they could now use magic treasures. Naturally, the magic treasures of the immortal statues were peak immortal equipment of the immortal epoch. Now, the combat prowess of an immortal statue was more than twice as strong as before. However, the many cultivators and the 3 primes on Heavenly Star Island did not know about all this. This time, the Treasure Master did not hesitate. He directly ordered his 10-odd adopted sons to charge to Heavenly Star Island with the experts of the Treasure Master's residence. Chapter 15-13. In the City Lord's residence of Heaven Dragon City, Imo-chun and Lan Xiaobai counted the number of experts on Heavenly Star Island. Lan Xiaobai took out a stack of vellum and looked at Imo-chun. The numbers are out. Martial sages and below are ignored. The blue-robed emperor has a total of 2,000 people, 300 minor Heavenly Emperor Wu, 80 greater Heavenly Emperor Wu, 20 sovereign martial emperors, and 10 Holy Lord-level existences, including primes. So few, Imo-chun said with a frown. Indeed, very few. Before the Golden Age arrived, the entire Heavenly Starry Ocean's accumulations totaled about this many people. After the Golden Age arrived, people continuously broke through to Emperor Wu's level. Many of the older generation cultivators also advanced further. However, now, after the calamity, the blue-robed emperor only had 2,000 people dead. Minor Heavenly Emperor Wu and Greater Heavenly Emperor Wu did not even have 400 people in total. As for sovereign martial emperors, there were only 20. Most of these people were from the 3 Immortal Holy Land. Excluding the 3 Immortal Holy Lands, there would be even fewer. The sudden appearance of 18 immortal statues was equivalent to 18 primes. Their destructive power was so great that it was no exaggeration to call it the end of the world. Lan Xiaobai nodded and said, "This is indeed too few." The entire Heavenly Starry Ocean probably lost more than 50% of its peak combat power. Actually, if they had organized things properly, they would not have suffered such great losses. Unfortunately, the Heavenly Starry Ocean is leaderless. I also do not know what happened to the Kunlun continent. To think that the deity Dao Union and Bushan Palace did not send reinforcements. The Treasure Master's timing is too accurate. Imo-chun corrected, he did not choose this timing. He created it himself. Imo-chun believed that the Treasure Master had been planning for this day for a long time. If the deity Dao Union and Bushan Palace had sent reinforcements, the Heavenly Starry Ocean would not have suffered such great losses. The Treasure Master could not have been unaware of this. He definitely had a hand in the matter of the Blue Dragon Palace. Lan Xiaobai smiled. Don't worry about that now. There's good news. The Heaven and Earth Absolute Dragon Formation has been tested several times. It's enough to withstand the attacks of the immortal statues. However, Imo-chun was not very optimistic. There is another condition. If the strength of the immortal statue does not change, then, dong dong dong. Just at this moment, footsteps came from outside the residence. Several Dragon's Gate disciples rushed in and reported, "Oh no! The Treasure Master's residence's people are charging over." Imo-chun and Lan Xiaobai suddenly stood up and instantly flew out of the hall, looking into the distance. At the end of their line of sight, they could see the upper body of the celestial statue. The immortal statue's eyes were cold and lifeless, as if it was already within reach. In reality, there was still a long way to go. It was just that these immortal statues were too tall. Like a towering mountain, it could be seen clearly from 100 li away. Prepare for battle. Imo-chun's expression remained calm. She had long expected that the City Lord's residence would not let this matter rest. The calm from before was just the prelude to the storm. It was the brewing of an even bigger storm. However, there was a shadow in her heart. The Treasure Master's residence's people were somewhat slow. Under normal circumstances, after the immortal statues were tidied up, the Treasure Master's residence would have charged over in one day. However, 8 days had already passed before the Treasure Master's residence made their move. To the city gates. Imo-chun did not have much time to think. After calling out to Lan Xiaobai, she flew towards the city walls. Many experts had already arrived at the eastern city gate. As they looked at the huge immortal statue in the distance, they all felt very worried. Before the great calamity arrived, these people were either the sect masters or the clan heads of ancient noble clans. They were all tyrants of their regions. They could be said to be major characters of the Heavenly Starry Ocean. They definitely would not have any problems taking charge. However, now that these major characters were gathered together and looked at the immortal statue, they did not have much confidence. City lords, can the worldly absolute dragon formation block the attacks of these immortal statues? The one who spoke was the clan head of an ancient noble clan. He still felt some lingering fear from the attacks of the immortal statues. The clan head of an ancient noble clan had a physical body that rivaled that of a prime, nimble and agile, strong magic skills, and a huge body. A mere statue of an immortal was enough to destroy his entire clan, causing the entire clan to be wiped out in an instant. If we cannot block it, let's retreat. The Heavenly Province Academy's vice sect master clearly lacked confidence. Back then, the three Holy Lands, the Inyang Paradise, the Heavenly Province Academy, and the Five Poison Sect, worked together to resist the immortal statues. In the end, they missed the best time to retreat and suffered heavy casualties. Even now, they still felt lingering fear. What's there to fear? With the Blue Dragon King and the three primes around, I don't believe that we cannot take down these 17 immortal statues. Rather than passively defending, we might as well take the initiative to fight. There were also people who did not give up on their ambitions and were very confident in Shao Chun. However, they were in the minority. Most people tended to be conservative. If they could defend, they would defend. If they could not, they would retreat. After all, these people had feelings for the heavenly starry ocean and were tied to their interests. They could not just leave at a whim. Imochen felt somewhat helpless. She did not know how to answer these people's questions. When one's strength reached a certain level, all intelligence and schemes would seem very useless. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 figures appeared. They were the Bright Moon Empress, the Myriad Law Fiend Master, and the Cyclic Astral Lord. The appearance of the primes immediately boosted the confidence of the people on the city walls. One had to know that these supremes had taken on quite a few immortal statues on their own back then. The Myriad Law Fiend Master looked at the immortal statues and said in confusion, "They are still playing this game? With the 3 of us working together, we can block 17 immortal statues. The Treasure Master is overthinking if he wants to use this to break through." The immortal statues were as strong as primes. However, they were inanimate objects in the end. In terms of intelligence, they were not as agile as primes. If the 3 primes worked together, they would be able to block 17 immortal statues. At the very least, they would not lose. The Bright Moon Empress frowned slightly. It is definitely not that simple. Given the Treasure Master's character, he will either not make a move or be confident of victory the moment he makes a move. The immortal statue this time will definitely be different in many ways. The Cyclic Astral Lord nodded and said, "That's right. The Treasure Master is sinister and crafty. He definitely came prepared." The Cyclic Astral Lord could be said to have suffered a great loss against the Treasure Master. Originally, he felt that even if the Treasure Master had some scheme, the 3 primes working together would be sufficient to suppress him. Before absolute strength, the Treasure Master would not be able to cause any trouble. Unexpectedly, when the other party turned hostile, he used absolute strength to suppress them, preventing them from causing any trouble. If not for Shao Chun appearing out of nowhere and surpassing Prime, the consequences would have been dire. When the others heard the words of the primes, they all felt some disbelief. That can't be. If he is really that incredible, why did he not use it earlier? The person who threatened to charge out and fight with these immortal statues earlier said in disbelief. Right after that person spoke, someone suddenly exclaimed, "What is that?" Everyone looked over and saw a straight beam of light tearing through the clouds in the distance, quickly flying towards Heavenly Star Island. The 3 primes focused their eyes on it. When they saw it clearly, their expressions changed drastically. "It's a sword." That was a 1-kilometer-long treasure sword. It had an exquisite design and flickered with a faint light. Even though it was 1 kilometer long, the cold light of the blade was still clearly visible, down to the finest detail. Imochen reacted very quickly. She crossed her hands and held the formation plate between them. Then, she closed her eyes and quickly formed hand seals. A bright light shot out from between her hands. Immediately, the Dragon's Gate disciples at the formation nodes in the city and the other cultivators all sensed it. The Dragon's Gate disciples quickly sat down cross-legged and activated the node they were at. Thousands of azure-colored pillars of light immediately soared up from the vast Heaven Dragon City. The pillars of light gathered in the sky. Imochen stretched out her hand, and a screen of light descended, encasing the entire Heavenly Star Island. Dang! The 1-kilometer-long sword also instantly descended at this moment. A loud sound spread throughout the entire city. All of Heavenly Star Island shook intensely. Fear and panic spread in everyone's heart. Chi! Chi! The sword tore through the screen of light, revealing half of its blade. Then, it hovered above the city gates, above everyone's heads. The worldly absolute dragon formation that could block primes actually blocked the might of this sword. This was simply horrifying. It looked like the entire sword was about to pierce through. The cyclic astral lord soared into the air, and a bright starlight descended around him. Then, it gathered in his palm. He struck out with all his might at the critical moment, smashing out this half of the sword. Everyone, be careful. These are the magic treasures of the immortal statues. They are all peak immortal equipment. The cyclic astral lord shouted after blood leaked out of a corner of his lip. Imochen did not dare to be careless. Her hands moved increasingly faster, and the azure light barrier slowly darkened. Finally, dragon motifs appeared on the light barrier, giving off a loud dragon roar. The power of the sound wave knocked back the 1-kilometer-long sword. The 17 immortal statues soared into the air. At this moment, they finally arrived. They looked down at the people below, aloof and aloof. Their cold, lightless eyes were like they were looking at a group of ants. A magic treasure hovered above the head of every immortal statue, emitting a misty, immortal aura. There was a flying sword, a treasure mirror, a jade fan, a bell, or an ancient lamp. Every one of them was very shocking, deterring anyone from looking at them directly. Despair appeared in the depths of everyone's heart on Heavenly Star Island. No one had expected that the immortal statues, which were already strong enough, could actually use magic treasures. The result of this battle was decided the moment it started. Prepare to retreat. There is no more fighting, the cyclic astral lord whispered to Imochen. If there were only one immortal statue with a magic treasure, it would be fine. However, all 17 immortal statues had magic treasures, so there was no need for that. My 3 old friends, how have you been? Laughter resounded, and a black figure flew out from behind the 17 immortal statues. That person's appearance was blurry. One could only vaguely make out a terrifying saber wound on his face. Treasure Master! The Bright Moon Empress and the other 2 were startled, recognizing this person. Since the immortal statues appeared, the Treasure Master had not appeared. This was the first time he appeared before everyone. The Treasure Master stood on the head of an immortal statue and looked down at everyone. He said, "Cyclic Astral Lord, Fiend King and Palace Master, the 3 of you are the strongest. You should know the pros and cons. I'll cut to the chase. Leave behind half of the cultivators in the city. The rest can leave. Don't wait until the very end before you know what's good for you." The Treasure Master's tone was calm, but his casual words determined the life and death of half the people in the city. This simply made the cultivators in the city unable to calm down. After a long period of silence, no one answered. This question was too heavy. Haha. It looks like not everyone is willing to give me face. I still have to knock them down a peg or 2. The Treasure Master smiled coldly, and the magic treasures of the 17 immortal statues flew out at the same time, heading for Heavenly Star Island, eliciting startled cries. Chapter 15-14. The magic treasures of the 18 immortal statues attacked the Heaven Dragon City at the same time, displaying their might. Immediately, all sorts of mysterious phenomena covered the sky. All the magic treasures were peak immortal equipment, reproducing the vast immortal might of the immortal epoch. Multicolored light filled the sky. 9 lights and 10 colors dyed the world like a painting. The painting unfurled, and the first to descend was a feather fan. That jade fan had a total of 18 divine bird feathers, refined from them. Just as it was about to descend, it suddenly turned into a divine bird and scattered. Each of the 18 tail feathers was slender and long, burning with a blazing flame. They were like needles, easily piercing through the defensive light barrier of the worldly absolute dragon formation. Then, they merged back together. Then, they turned back into a feather fan. With a flap, a boundless strong wind and surging flames blew. A rain of fire spread out, descending into the city. Countless buildings immediately ignited. The many sovereign martial emperors on the city walls executed their various means to block the rain of fire. However, the strong wind was too strong, and the flames were too dense. They could not block all of them. Rumble! The 1-kilometer-long sword attacked again, continuously striking the light barrier and giving off loud, deafening sounds like thunder. The light barrier of the worldly absolute dragon formation looked like it could shatter at any moment, shattering on the spot. Immortal held the formation plate in her hand and quickly retreated. After she sent out a hand seal, the formation plate disappeared. After sending out a hand seal, the cultivators guarding the various nodes immediately reacted and sent out more power. An overwhelming tsunami surged up on the surface of the sea. The entire heavenly star island soared into the air. It was like a primordial beast, incredibly vast. Even the immortal statues did not seem that huge before the entire island. Heavenly Star Island quickly went far away, wanting to fly away. You think you can escape? The treasure master smiled coldly. With a thought, he grasped the puppet pearl. The 17 immortal statues attacked at the same time. Whoosh! 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 They surrounded the flying Heavenly Star Island and punched. The immortal statues clenched their fists, and the fist lights of the immortal statues became like a mountain. Just one immortal statue could erupt with the strength of a prime. How incredible would it be if 17 immortal statues attacked at the same time? Amid loud sounds, the soaring Heavenly Star Island was forcefully smashed down and returned to the sea. Immortal equipment and magic treasures flew everywhere in the city. Even if the 3 Supremes attacked at the same time, they would not be able to stop all the immortal artifacts and magical treasures. The entire city was in chaos. Countless martial artists fled in all directions. Every time one of the mirrors shot out a beam of immortal light, even Emperor Wu would be pierced on the spot. There was also a celestial bell, which sounded incredibly pleasing to the ear. However, the power of the sound waves caused the ground to tremble, as if the entire world were spinning. 17 immortal statues and 17 immortal magic treasures were simply undefeatable. The Heaven Dragon City was on the verge of collapse. No one knew how long it could last. The Treasure Lord suddenly waved his hand. The many magic treasures returned to their positions, and the immortal statues stopped attacking. In just a short moment, the entire Heaven Dragon City had fallen into a sea of flames, the ground had collapsed, and the casualties were extremely heavy. The many sovereign martial emperors and the 3 primes all showed signs of fatigue. As he looked at the celestial statue, he revealed an expression of extreme indignation and helplessness. Xiao Chen was truly dissatisfied. He had not even managed to touch the treasure master's clothes, and he was already reduced to such a sorry state. The treasure master hovered in the air, feeling confident of victory. He asked casually, "How is it? Do you still need to consider?" Imochen bit her lip, her complexion pale. She showed some helplessness and bitterness. The other party was simply too strong. Before the Treasure Lord's true body made a move, the immortal statues already swept through the place. Based on the other party's expression, he had far more tricks up his sleeve. Was the Kunlun realm's end really here? Although the treasure master did not speak loudly, the cultivators in the city still felt a mountain-like pressure. They felt despair and helplessness. Did they really have to agree to the other party's request and leave half the people behind before they could leave? If you are not saying anything, then let's do it again. The treasure master snorted coldly. The immortal statues all formed hand seals, and the 17 magic treasures flickered with light, preparing to launch a new attack. Stop! Just at this moment, the myriad law fiend master stepped forward and shouted coldly, "Treasure master, there's no need to bully others. I'll go with you. Let these people in the city go." Old ancestor. The moment the myriad law fiend master said that, the people of the myriad fiend island all cried out in alarm. The myriad law fiend master waved his hand to stop these people. Then, he looked at the treasure master and said, "I know what you want to do. I alone am sufficient." The treasure master remained silent. A light flickered in his eyes as he revealed a complicated expression. However, after a while, all the strange light in his eyes vanished. He said, "If you are willing, naturally you can. Of course, using a prime as a sacrifice would be the best." This was something the treasure master did not even dare to think about. Revealing your true self before me will definitely be the decision you will regret the most. Shao Chun narrowed his right eye, and the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning in his sea of consciousness flickered. The vast power of the lightning tribulation poured into his right eye. 3 lightning tribulation seeds bloomed and spun quickly in Shao Chun's eye. Then, they layered over each other and sent down the lightning tribulation. The divine lightning I could send down a lightning tribulation with just one look, deciding life and death. There was no way to dodge, as the world had already locked onto one's aura the moment the divine lightning I looked at you. 3 terrifying bolts of lightning appeared in the sky, immediately plunging this world into darkness. Only electric light flickered in the world. Every bolt of lightning made one's heart tremble. When the 3 bolts of lightning intertwined and gathered, even primes trembled. This sudden scene shocked everyone. At the same time, anticipation welled up in their hearts. Whoosh! The treasure master's foggy face suddenly revealed a pair of eyes. At this moment of life and death, he was scarily calm as he stared straight at Shao Chun. Shao Chun's heart skipped a beat. This gaze seemed somewhat familiar. There was no time to think, as the lightning tribulation already landed on the treasure master. Chapter 15:15. Shao Chun vaguely felt that he had seen this gaze somewhere before. However, he could not immediately recall it. However, this was not the time to think about this. He wanted to see the result. Actually, Shao Chun already had a vague guess in his heart. However, he was not willing to think about it or guess. Right now, all that mattered was whether this divine lightning I could truly injure the other party. The 3 bolts of tribulation lightning tangled with each other. The piercing electric light made it hard to look directly at it. Before this intense light, everyone either closed their eyes or squinted slightly. Only Shao Chun did not close them. Instead, he opened his eyes wide, even silently activating his heavenly eye. Shao Chun faced the dazzling electric light, wanting to see it clearly. Even if the intense light injured him, he did not care. Bang! The tribulation lightning struck the treasure master very quickly. There was no way to dodge. In reality, the treasure master did not even bother to dodge. The vast lightning-attributed energy quickly exploded. The impact knocked the surrounding immortal statues into the courtyard. A hazy mist rose up. That was the lightning-attributed energy, instantly vaporizing a large amount of seawater. Sparks flickered in the mist, crackling endlessly. When refracted by the mist, the sparks flickered with resplendent light, turning the mist into a glazed color. No one could clearly see what was happening inside. No one knew whether the treasure master was dead or alive. "Is he dead?" someone asked. Someone said in a novel. The world was strangely quiet, so quiet that it made people feel a little scared. Even if he is not dead, he should be severely injured. It would be best if he is dead. Who knows how many people of the heavenly starry ocean that fellow killed? I heard that many cultivators were taken away as sacrifices. Many people discussed this in whispers. No one dared to speak loudly. The cyclic astral lord frowned and said, "How strange. Such vast lightning-attributed energy actually exploded so quickly." "That's right. The shock waves are also smaller," the Myriad Law Fiend Master said in agreement with a nod. "This feels somewhat strange. Experts could always see things differently from ordinary people." The three primes all found it strange. The power of the three bolts of tribulation lightning layered over each other. Even primes found that terrifying. After the explosion, the shock waves should have reached Heaven Dragon City. However, in reality, the shock waves only reached 1 kilometer around the Treasure Master. Xiao Chen could not wait. He stretched out his right hand and pushed. This seemingly ordinary palm strike exploded with power that shocked everyone. More than 7,000 streams of energy formed by roaming dragons appeared behind Xiao Chen. His vital qi had already reached 7,000 dragon power, only 3,000 less than the heaven-punishing corpse god's 10,000 dragon power. He withdrew his palm gently, and the mist was pushed away like a piece of floating ice. This scene once again shocked everyone. 7,000 dragon power was already terrifying enough. Furthermore, Xiao Chen was able to use his vital qi so proficiently, grasping such skillful moves. This was simply incredible. Could it be that the 7,000 dragon force was only the tip of the iceberg that Xiao Chen had displayed? What shocked him even more was not Xiao Chen, but the result after the mist was pushed away. When the mist scattered, the Treasure Master's true body was revealed. His aura remained the same, looking like he was not injured at all. "Not bad. Unfortunately, you are still unable to truly injure me," the Treasure Master said calmly without any fluctuations. "Impossible." Everyone was in disbelief. How could such a powerful lightning tribulation be unscathed? Even if he didn't die, he would be heavily injured. That was what everyone was aware of. Even the three paragons were stunned. At the same time, they felt despair. Even such a strong lightning tribulation could not injure the Treasure Master. In that case, was there any hope of victory? Only Xiao Chen maintained a calm expression. However, he closed his eyes in disappointment. When Xiao Chen opened his eyes again, the disappointment was gone. Replacing it was an unfathomable look that was like a 1,000-year-old cold pond. "Emo-Chen, let's go," Xiao Chen said without turning his head back, staring at the Treasure Master. Emo-Chen said with some difficulty, "I tried once before. However, with 17 immortal statues working together, I could not leave at all." "Don't worry. We can leave." After obtaining Xiao Chen's promise, Emo-Chen soared into the air. Then, she held up the formation plate and activated the formation once more. Together with the thousands of Dragon's Gate disciples, she controlled Heavenly Star Island and soared into the air again. "You can't say that we can leave." "Only I can say that," the Treasure Master said casually. His face was hazy, making it hard to see his appearance. The 17 immortal statues leaped into the air. Their bodies were as huge as mountains. Their bodies were clearly as huge as mountains, but when they moved, they were as nimble as a cunning rabbit. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This time, the 17 immortal statues were even more violent and direct. Each of them stomped on Heavenly Star Island's light barrier. The light barrier had already been destroyed many times already. If it got struck again, it would shatter on the spot. Emo-Chen, who was in charge of the formation, would definitely suffer a huge backlash. She might even die from severe injuries. "3 seniors, please help me imitate the Treasure Master." Xiao Chen left those words in a hurry and shot out of the light barrier. With a thought, he clenched his 10 fingers tightly. The instant his 10 fingers clenched, the instant his 10 fingers clenched, vital qi surged in his body, forming countless roaming dragons around him, roaring ferociously. 10,000 dragon force. When the 3 primes saw it clearly, they were all startled. The vital qi that Shao Chun displayed was actually no weaker than the heaven-punishing corpse gods. What a fellow! What exactly did he experience in the Blue Dragon Palace? The cyclic astral lord could not help exclaiming. The myriad law fiend master muttered, I feel that he went through some kind of metamorphosis. In the past, it was his cultivation that broke through the restrictions. Now, it is his physical body that broke through the restrictions of the Kunlun realm. The myriad law fiend master was right. The vital Qi Dao was also prevalent in the great thousand realms outside the Kunlun realm. Many cultivators substantiated their Dao with the physical body, focusing on vital Qi. After they became powerhouses, they could move unhindered. The power of a supreme existence could even shatter a star with one strike. The heaven-punishing corpse god substantiated his Dao with the physical body and achieved 10,000 dragon force. However, he also reached a bottleneck and could not continue cultivating. However, it was different for Shao Chun. The medicinal pool in the Blue Dragon Palace was from the ancient era. It was used for pure-blooded true dragons to undergo their coming-of-age ceremony. Once they successfully endured it, they would be reborn. The essence blood of an ancient ferocious beast was 1,000 times more precious than Shao Chun imagined, even 10,000 times. It looked like the feet of the immortal statues were about to stomp down in the sky. Shao Chun roared, and 10,000 dragon force quickly gathered above his head. There was no bright light in the center of the gathering of 10,000 dragon force. There was only a wild aura, simple and natural. Boom! Before everyone's eyes, the 10,000 dragon force gathered and formed a 3-legged treasure cauldron. Faint dragon patterns appeared on the cauldron. 10,000 dragon force gathered into one cauldron force. Outside the abandoned land, 10,000 dragon force was a bottleneck for all vital Qi cultivators. After clearing this bottleneck, one would enter a brand new realm. During the Great Desolate Aeon, when the 10,000 races fought for supremacy, every strong tribe would forge a cauldron to show off its strength and prosperity. Any treasure cauldron would be forged from mountains and rivers, astral divine iron, and the remains of ancient ferocious beasts. The cauldron was a symbol of honor and authority. After the monarchs worshipped it, it even gained a lot of divinity. During that era, strength was measured by cauldron force. One cauldron force equaled 10,000 dragon force. More importantly, this was a kind of sublimation, a sign of vital Qi reaching the palm's level. When the 3-legged dragon cauldron formed, the treasure master's expression immediately changed drastically. He took out the puppet pearl and sent out strands of thought to get the immortal statues to retreat. Unfortunately, it was too late. Everyone saw Shao Chun throw 17 punches. To others, it looked like he had created countless clones, and all of them punched at the same time. However, in reality, it was just that Shao Chun's punches were too fast, giving the illusion that he punched at the same time. Bang! 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 With every punch, a 3-legged dragon cauldron shot out from the fist light. The dragon cauldron contained an ancient aura from the Great Desolate Aeon, faintly flickering with the light of divinity. Ka-sie! Ka-sie! Shattering sounds rang out. Half a leg of each immortal statue broke on the spot, and they fell like small mountains. The 17 immortal statues were knocked back at the same time and fell into the sea, kicking up waves. After throwing 17 punches, Shao Chun appeared somewhat fatigued. He spun around and landed on the city wall again. Blue Dragon War Body, the treasure master muttered to himself with a somewhat complicated expression. 10,000 years ago, that person who swept through the world and used the demonic Dao to enter the Dao also displayed the Blue Dragon War Body. After 10,000 years, the treasure master saw the Blue Dragon War Body again, a clearly superior Blue Dragon War Body. Chapter 15-16. Shao Chun punched out 17 times in a row. Each punch contained a cauldron's worth of power. He even broke one of the immortal statue's legs. In a short period of time, the immortal statue's battle prowess would definitely be greatly reduced. However, it was clearly not the time to be careless, because the treasure master had not truly made a move yet. Xiao Chen stared at the treasure master, not relaxing for a moment. The blue dragon war body that Xiao Chen displayed triggered a memory of the treasure master, causing him to fall into a momentary daze. By the time Xiao Chen startled to his senses, Heavenly Star Island had already flown into the clouds, moving further away. You want to leave? It's not that easy. The treasure master snorted coldly, and a medallion in his hand suddenly burned. A certain order was quickly sent to the people who also had medallions. In the astral battlefield, the 18 demon monarchs of the abyss led their subordinates and waited quietly. They formed a circle, and within the circle there was a huge teleportation array. Every demon emperor was waiting quietly. The Eros demon Ling Yu was also among them. Her charming face did not show any emotion. They were all major characters of the deep abyss demonic world. When a demonic monarch was enraged, blood would splatter for thousands of miles. But at this moment, none of them said a word, only quietly waiting for a certain order. Who could make 18 demon monarchs bow their heads and follow their lead? Naturally, he was the mysterious sect master of the Nether sect in the deep abyss demonic world. Everyone in the demon world believed in the demon god. From the moment they stepped onto the path of martial arts, they had fused a strand of their soul with an oath and offered it to the demon god. As for the Nether Church's sect master, he was the demonic god's spokesperson in the world. His words were like divine decrees. No one dared to disobey him. Although the sect master rarely showed himself, and most of the sect affairs were handled by the Nether sect's 2 vice sect masters, no one dared to disrespect the sect master's authority. Because those who were disrespectful would become private of the 18 demon emperors, the top 9 were all supremes. The last 9 demon emperors were not supremes. They were existences second only to primes. Furthermore, with the innate abilities of the demon race, they were even stronger than some of the holy lords of the Kunlun realm. Ling Yu, who appeared to be expressionless, was actually feeling complicated. She knew very well what was waiting for her. She was not afraid of fighting. She was only afraid that she would not be able to face someone. Xiao xiao xiao. All of a sudden, a command medallion flew out from each person's body, ignited, and then embedded itself into the nodes of the formation. In just a short while, the formation shone brightly and emitted a vast demonic aura, causing every demon monarch's expression to become extremely grave. Let's go. Sect leader has already given the order. The celestial demon monarch was the first to enter the formation, followed by the earth demon monarch, the thunder demon monarch, the shadow demon monarch, and the dark demon monarch. The charm demon monarch, Ling Yu, sighed in her heart but still entered. After the demon sovereign entered, the various abyssal demon race experts behind him also waited quietly, preparing to be transported over in batches. When one looked around, one would discover that the square formations of the various demon cultivators stretched as far as the eye could see. All the cultivators of the demon race, who could fight, had already come out in full force. This was the final battle. They had to cut off all means of retreat. They would not allow any forces to remain. In the air, there were also countless cultivators wearing black robes with the symbol of a black lotus on them. They were the most mysterious Nether sect cultivators in the deep abyss demonic world. Their status was higher than the demons. Among the many Nether sect members, there were 2 extremely strong auras, not at all weaker than primes. These were the 2 vice-church masters of the Nether sect, Xing Wang and Fa Wang. These 2 were the true controllers of the Nether sect. This was because most of the time, the church master did not see anyone. Xing Wang controlled the life and death of the people, dealing with those who judged the Nether sect and those who violated the rules. Fa Wang managed the members of the Nether sect and was responsible for offering sacrifices to the demonic god. The two had a clear division of labor, equal in status. Strange. According to the church master's intentions, we should not be going over so early. Xing Wang frowned slightly and said with some misgivings, "Could something have happened?" Fa Wang appeared more optimistic. He smiled and said, "It is also possible that the church master dealt with the problem there in advance. Right. No matter what, we have been preparing for so long this time. We will definitely succeed. There will not be any accidents." At this moment, the many cultivators on Heavenly Star Island watched as the treasure master did not make a move. It looked like Heavenly Star Island was about to enter the clouds and fly to the Kunlun continent. Everyone released their bated breath. Only Xiao Chen kept staring at the treasure master. He clearly saw the other party burning a strange medallion. Xiao Chen did not know what the other party was planning. "Little friend Xiao Chen, what's wrong?" The 17 immortal statues have temporarily lost their combat prowess. The treasure master should not dare to charge over alone. The myriad law fiend master explained when he saw that Xiao Chen still had a grave expression, not relaxing at all. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. From the start to the end, this treasure master has not revealed his strength." The cyclic astral lord said with deep emotions, "We still can't relax. Back then, although I knew that this treasure master had some connection to the demonic world, I did not care about him. Now, it looks like I was gravely mistaken." The bright moon empress nodded and said, "That's right. However, we should not raise the other party's morale. With Xiao Chen here and the three of us, the treasure master will not dare to take the risk alone." These words were right. Xiao Chen's current strength already surpassed that of a prime. He could knock back 17 immortal statues alone, reaching an unfathomable level. The three primes could no longer understand Xiao Chen's strength. They did not know how far he had progressed. An existence that rivaled the Qing Emperor back then, with the three primes assisting from the side, did not fear the treasure master charging over alone. The treasure master did not fear charging over alone. However, while this was the theory, no one had seen the treasure master make a move before. The result was hard to say. Xiao Chen withdrew his gaze from the treasure master and sighed softly in his heart. Then, he said, "Do be careful. I keep feeling that something is wrong." Right after Xiao Chen spoke, a mysterious energy suddenly parted the clouds in the sky. Many figures appeared in the sky. On the orders of the church master, the celestial demon monarch is here. On the orders of the church master, the earth demon monarch is here. On the orders of the church master, the shadow demon monarch is here. The 18 demon monarchs appeared at the same time. Overwhelming demonic might spread out in the sky. A formless aura spread out from the demon monarchs, and a huge pressure landed on Heavenly Star Island. 9 primes worked together with 9 Holy Lord level demon monarch. When their auras merged, they looked like a majestic mountain range stretching out endlessly, pressing down on the sky above Heavenly Star Island. As the 18 demon monarchs slowly descended, the pressure suddenly increased, slowly pushing down Heavenly Star Island. Imochen, who was maintaining the formation, immediately paled. Pusi. She simply could not endure the pressure, and blood leaked out of a corner of her mouth. 18 demon monarchs! Xiao Chen's heart sank. When he looked up, he saw that it was the real deal. It was indeed the 18 demon monarchs of the deep abyss demonic world, and Leng Yu was among them. However, the other party did not dare to meet Xiao Chen's gaze, purposely avoiding it. He is the Dark Church's church master. Only the Dark Church's church master can command the 18 demon monarch. The cyclic astral lord showed a startled expression. As he looked at the treasure master, horror flashed in his eyes. Although the cyclic astral lord had long guessed that the treasure master had a connection to the demonic world, no matter how he thought about it, he could not guess that the treasure master was the Dark Church's church master. As Xiao Chen looked at the treasure master, his mood turned even heavier. He immediately figured out all the details. It turned out that the other party had already laid out this trap 10,000 years ago. All sorts of doubts suddenly cleared up. All the clues connected. So, that was the case. Xiao Qin revealed a bitter smile as he looked at the treasure master. He really wanted to ask why. However, he managed to endure in the end. 3 seniors, come with me to face the enemy. The cultivators in this city are the final flame of Heavenly Star Island. As long as the flame still exists, the heavenly starry ocean will be rebuilt after the calamity. Xiao Qin looked at the 18 demon monarchs and made up his mind, not thinking about anything else. The Myriad Law Fiend Master and the other 2 did not hesitate at all, following Xiao Qin and charging out of the barrier. With the auras of the 3 primes and Xiao Qin, they immediately blocked the demonic might of the 18 demon monarchs. The pressure on the entire city decreased. Heavenly Star Island, which was continuously being pushed down, soared into the air together. Chapter 15-17. I obey. The demonic monarch's expression did not change. As he prepared, he sent a voice projection to Ling Yu. Don't send me a voice projection. The treasure master is extremely horrifying. If we are not careful, we might give ourselves away. Compared to the cultivators of Heavenly Star Island, Xiao Qin was clearly more important to the demonic monarch. Xiao Qin, did you hear me? Why are you not using martial techniques? To many people, the 18 demon monarchs were legendary characters. It was difficult to see any of them. Today, they all appeared at the same time. It was hard not to be nervous. Everyone felt nervous for Xiao Qin and the 3 primes. Xiao Qin was confident of knocking back the 17 immortal statues alone. However, when facing the 18 demon monarchs, Xiao Qin brought along the 3 primes. Many thanks. The celestial demon monarch stretched out his hand and pointed at Xiao Qin in dissatisfaction. Unexpectedly, Xiao Qin attacked at the drop of a hat. A strong wind blew, and Xiao Qin's figure vanished from everyone's vision. This was especially so for Xiao Qin. He had interacted with the Myriad Law Fiend Master, the Cyclic Astral Lord, and the Bright Moon Empress before. Myriad Law Fiend Master, I only defeated you in a somewhat sorry state. Why hold a grudge against me? After saying these 2 simple words, Xiao Qin instantly attacked without hesitation. The blue dragon divine wings appeared on his back. With a ferocious flap, he turned into an afterimage and launched himself at the celestial demon monarch. I do not dare to offer advice. I heard that you are now the strongest person of the Kunlun realm, so my hands are itching. Before the great battle begins, will you exchange one move with me? The celestial demon monarch narrowed his eyes and finally saw Xiao Qin's figure. What appeared before him was a simple and unadorned fist light. Xiao Qin showed an indifferent expression as he explained softly. A miserable shriek rang out, and the celestial demon monarch was immediately blasted back. As he looked at his missing right arm, he looked at Xiao Qin again, horror flashing in his eyes. Demonic shadow palm! Rumble! Countless bolts of lightning roared in the sky. That was the rage of the heavenly Tao, not allowing such an evil thing to appear in the world. The smile on the celestial demon monarch's face froze before it disappeared. In the past, during the minor devil tribulation that happened once every 1,000 years, they had fought several times, so they were quite familiar with each other. An invisible aura spread out between them. Xiao Qin nodded slightly and said softly, "You can say that. What can I do for you?" The treasure master, whose appearance could not be seen clearly, revealed a cold smile on his face, and a chill flashed in his eyes. Whoosh! A projection of a demonic god that gathered the faith of countless demonic worlds, as well as the foul and evil aura of the world, appeared behind the celestial demonic emperor. Bang! The 3 primes exclaimed in their hearts. The might of the demonic shadow palm was well known. It was one of the 10 great martial techniques of the deep abyss demonic world. Xiao Qin's group of 4 guarded the periphery of Heavenly Star Island, coldly eyeing these 18 demon monarchs. Celestial Demon Emperor suddenly said, "You're the Blue Dragon King?" A smile appeared on the Celestial Demon Monarch's face as he said, "How bold. Let's begin. Shao Chun, be careful. The Celestial Demon Monarch will not exchange moves with you so easily. He will definitely have a backup plan. When he exchanges moves with you later, he will definitely use the demonic shadow palm, materializing the image of a demonic god. It is extremely horrifying. Be careful. You don't understand? You will understand very soon. Don't agree to him. I've interacted with this Celestial Demon Monarch before. He is very crafty and incredibly crafty. Although he said that he wants to exchange moves with you, he definitely has other plans," the Myriad Law Fiend Master whispered to Shao Chun. This battle was destined to be the official start of the demonic calamity. After receiving the Treasure Master's order, the 18 demon monarchs instantly turned around and quickly flew towards Heavenly Star Island. The 18 demon monarchs moved to the side, leaving the Celestial Demon Monarch to face Shao Chun alone. The three primes felt helpless, so they gave Shao Chun some space. The demon monarchs were different from the immortal statues. They were also primes. In a one-on-one battle, the immortal statues could not compare to the cyclic astral lord and the others. Suddenly, a voice rang out in Shao Chun's mind. His heart skipped a beat, and he immediately knew who the owner of the voice was. The Celestial Demon Monarch's spiritual sense was very sharp. When he heard the Myriad Law Fiend Master's words, he laughed loudly. This was especially so for the other party's crafty means, which were hard to guard against. The moment the gigantic image of the demonic god appeared, it gave off a boundless demonic might. The Celestial Demon Monarch clearly understood the strength of the demonic god monarch. As the Celestial Demon Monarch threw a palm strike, the demonic god image smashed towards Shao Chun. Clearly, the Celestial Demon Monarch did not dare to be careless. "I agree," Shao Chun said indifferently with a calm expression. The Celestial Demon Monarch's true target did not seem to be Heavenly Star Island. Clearly, he was more concerned about how strong Shao Chun was. The many demon monarchs in the air bent one knee and said in unison, "Greetings, Church Master." The demonic god image was even larger than the immortal statues. Its figure seemed to block half the sky, shrouding the entire Heavenly Star Island in darkness. Among the 18 demon monarchs of the deep abyss demonic world, the Celestial Demon Monarch's position was equivalent to that of Emperor Forsaken, the strongest of the demon monarchs. When the demonic god image vanished, the Celestial Demon Monarch raged, "Blue Dragon King, I respect you as the strongest of the Kunlun realm, which is why I fought fairly with you. You are not even using a martial technique. Are you insulting me?" Shao Chun's answer did not answer the question, stunning everyone. They could not understand what was going on. The arm that the Celestial Demon Monarch used to point at Shao Chun exploded with a scarlet light. All the cultivators on Heavenly Star Island held their breaths, not even daring to breathe loudly. "It's over. Why is Shao Chun not using a martial technique?" The Celestial Demon Monarch cursed in his heart. Then, he instantly executed his killing move. "Damn it! Is he looking down on me? To think that he did not use any martial technique." Of course, the Celestial Demon Monarch had heard of Shao Chun before. However, it was hard to say whether he was itching for a move or not. The instant Shao Chun clashed with that palm strike, he felt like he was clashing with a world and not a palm strike. Shao Chun's internal organs were significantly injured. He could not help vomiting a mouthful of blood. "Young man, you are indeed a newborn calf that does not fear the tiger. I'll show you this move." The Celestial Demon Monarch made an inviting gesture as he looked at Shao Chun. The Celestial Demon Monarch moved very quickly and decisively. A flowing light flickered, not hesitating at all. It was like the Celestial Demon Monarch drawing his saber, never pausing or panicking. After all, the Celestial Demon Monarch could not cultivate martial technique. Even though their bodies were nimble, Their thinking could not compare to that of a living person. However, the celestial demon monarch had the advantage of numbers and stature, suppressing the 3 primes of Heavenly Star Island. This punch of mine condenses all the veritable essence energy in my body into one cauldron force, working with the Blue Dragon war body. It does not matter whether I use a martial technique or not. Do you understand now? The huge Heavenly Star Island behind Shao Chen started shaking intensely. It flew up again, wobbling unsteadily like it would fall back down. Very few people could cultivate it. Furthermore, cultivating it to the peak was something that only the celestial demon monarch could do. Both sides looked ordinary, not showing anything outstanding about their appearances. However, this was the scariest confrontation at the peak of the entire Kunlun realm. Shao Chen wiped off the blood on his lips and looked at the blood on his hand. Then, he entered deep thought and muttered, "The might of a demonic god is really horrifying. It is just an image, and yet it can erupt with such might." Shao Chen and the others soared into the air, preparing to fight the 18 demon monarchs. Who could have imagined that the 18 demon monarchs would fly directly to the treasure master? Shao Chen had only experienced such a feeling when he executed the cycle chop. To think that a casual palm strike from the demonic god image could easily achieve that. The treasure master did not say anything, not reminding the 18 demon monarchs of Shao Chen's strength. In terms of strength, the treasure master was even stronger than Emperor Forsaken. Back then, when the Myriad Law Fiend Master clashed with the Treasure Master, he lost to the Treasure Master, leaving a deep impression on him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As the 18 demon monarchs faced each other, the Celestial Demon Monarch, the Earth Demon Monarch, and the Shadow Demon Monarch led them. The 3 did not move rashly. Instead, they sized up Shao Chen's group of 4, checking out their strength. I see it. In the darkness, everyone could only see a demonic god image that was even darker than the night sky. Even the light of lightning was engulfed in the boundless darkness. The only one that could not understand was Shao Chen. He felt that this person was like a deep spring, bottomless. Shao Chen's body gave off a mysterious aura that only the treasure master could see. Just as everyone worried for Shao Chen, a loud explosion resounded. Light returned, and blood leaked out of a corner of Shao Chen's lips. This palm strike sent Shao Chen flying back 1 kilometer before he could stabilize himself. The 3 primes worried that Shao Chen was injured. They wanted to go forward and protect him first. However, Shao Chen stretched out his hand and stopped them. The treasure master did not say anything more. With a wave of his hand, he got the many demon monarchs to stand up. Then, he looked at Shao Chen's group of 4 and said, "Block that island." Ling Yu felt warmth in her heart. She knew that the other party still cared about her. However, her expression remained cold, not showing any doubt at all. Chapter 15-18. The force of one punch shattered the celestial demon monarch's arm. Shao Chen's strength shocked everyone. Attack! Surround and kill him! The celestial demon monarch roared in a fluster. Flesh continuously regenerated on his arm, and his injuries healed at a visible rate. The physical body of the demon race was stronger than that of the various races of the Kunlun realm in the first place. Furthermore, the celestial demon monarch was a prime-level existence. His recovery speed was even faster. However, even if this arm regenerated, he would need at least a month before he could use it as freely as when he was at his peak. The flesh needed some time to regenerate. It would not be as good as new so quickly. With one arm crippled, the celestial demon monarch's combat prowess dropped by at least 20%. He posed no threat to Shao Chen. The chaotic battle started. The first to bear the brunt was a bolt of lightning descending on Shao Chen. That was the Thunder Demon Monarch's lightning-attributed attack. After that, the Iron Demon Monarch charged over. The Winged Demon Monarch flapped its wings and flew over to harass Shao Chen. The Shadow Demon Monarch was like a phantom, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. He continuously launched sneak attacks at Shao Chen, annoying him to no end. The Ice Demon Monarch held up a cold sword. Together with the Iron Demon Monarch, he clashed head-on with Shao Chen. The Cyclic Astral Lord and the other two also quickly joined the battle, helping Shao Chen share some of the pressure. However, the three's strength was limited in the end. Even with their full power, they could only delay 5 or 6 demon monarchs for Shao Chen. Most of them were not even primes. Shao Chen faced 6 primes and 7 Holy Lord-level demon monarchs alone in the air. 13 demon monarchs surrounded Shao Chen, fighting a chaotic battle. Although Shao Chen surpassed Prime and had the horrifying blue dragon war body, he still could not defeat the demon monarchs alone. Compared to the immortal statues, these demon monarchs had many more tricks up their sleeve. They knew how to harass and sneak attack. Their martial techniques were nimble, and their advance and retreat were orderly. When they worked together, their combat prowess was not something the immortal statues could match. More importantly, the demon monarchs all had protective treasures. It would be very difficult to seriously injure them in a short period of time. Shao Chen, who was surrounded, was in a bad situation. He was in great danger, but he did his best to stabilize himself, not suffering any serious injuries. The one Shao Chen fought with the most was the Iron Demon Monarch. This Iron Demon Monarch had met Shao Chen once before. It was the Iron Demon that saved him in the savage battlefield. It's only been half a year, but your strength is getting heavier and heavier. I really shouldn't have saved you back then. Now, Shao Chen's punch contained a cauldron's strength. Even the Iron Demon, who was born with a strong physical body, could not withstand it. The Iron Demon, who was being continuously attacked by Shao Chen, was in great pain and could not help but spit out a mouthful of saliva. Even without your help, I can still escape from the 3 holy masters, but it'll be more troublesome. You, on the other hand, should thank me properly for becoming the Demon Emperor so quickly after returning. Ha ha, good, I'll give you a punch to thank you properly. The Iron Demon Monarch laughed loudly. Suddenly, his 5 fingers, which looked like metal, glowed faintly. Martial technique? Shao Chen's gaze sank. To think that a creature like the Iron Demon learned a martial technique. However, after thinking about it, this Iron Demon before him was intelligent and knew the principles. It was not strange that it could learn a martial technique. The Iron Demon's heavy punch was like a ferocious beast charging over. When the punch was thrown, boundless beast roars rang out. It was like an ancient ferocious beast reappeared in the world and roared ferociously. After Shao Chen dodged many sneak attacks and knocked back the Ice Demon Monarch's sword, he had no choice but to clash head-on with this punch. Shao Chen's veritable essence, energy and vital qi merged. Tao might appeared behind him as great Tao energy infused into his fist. In terms of sharpness, the saber was slightly inferior to the sword. However, in terms of absolute tyranny, it was the king of weapons. The great Tao energy of the saber Tao infused into this punch made Shao Chen's ordinary punch seem tyrannical. He became tyrannical, and an aura of supremacy burst forth from his body. As for a creature like the Iron Demon, it was like a natural tyrant body, invulnerable to weapons. However, the Iron Demon's talent was low, and its comprehension ability was 0. However, this Iron Demon Monarch before Shao Chen became an anomaly. The martial technique that the Iron Demon Monarch executed was not only very ferocious but also extremely smooth. Clearly, he had already practiced it to the peak. Unfortunately, the Iron Demon Monarch ran into Shao Chen, who had already cultivated the Blue Dragon War body. From the moment the Iron Demon Monarch wanted to clash with Shao Chen, he was destined to fail. He could only blame himself for being born at the wrong time. Bang! The 2 fists clashed. A loud sound rang out, and the Iron Demon Monarch was immediately sent flying. Cracks appeared on the surface of the Iron Demon Monarch's body, and black blood leaked out. His skin looked like it was covered in black cracks, looking extremely terrifying. Not bad. Many thanks for your gift. Xiao Chen moved back 100 meters. His palm felt slightly sore. Although he had knocked back the Iron Demon Monarch, the other party's punch was not weak, either. Die. Taking advantage of the time Xiao Chen moved back, the other 12 demon monarchs attacked at the same time as if they were connected, charging at Xiao Chen. The Ice Demon Monarch executed a vast ice sword light. Everywhere the sword passed, cold chi spread out. A starlight flickered at the tip of the sword, looking boundlessly resplendent. The winged demon monarch kicked up a strong wind, kicking up tornadoes that spanned 500 kilometers. The strong wind stirred up the clouds, bringing out lightning. The terrifying mysterious phenomenon flickered continuously. The winged demon monarch was trying to form a superstorm. The thunder demon monarch was the most tyrannical. Boundless lightning shot out of his body, and thousands of electric lights exploded on his body. Finally, he merged with the lightning and turned into a lightning bolt that surpassed the lightning tribulation, hacking at Xiao Chen. The 12 demon monarchs executed their killing moves together, triggering an overwhelming mysterious phenomenon. The surrounding 50,000 kilometers looked like the end of the world. The might and pressure of the various killing moves merged and pointed at Xiao Chen. This pressure was even more horrifying than that of an inanimate object like the Immortal statue. The vast heavenly star island behind Xiao Chen wobbled under this pressure, finding it hard to fly. Chen, who was maintaining the formation, felt like she could not endure it anymore. Her pale face drained of blood. The cultivators in the city were startled when they saw this. It was like they were there, sweating profusely for Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen showed a grave expression. He did not dare to underestimate this. In the time it took for a spark to fly, he drew the lunar shadow saber. Flawless saber technique's final move, heaven-swallowing stance. This was the first time Xiao Chen used the lunar shadow saber to execute the heaven-swallowing stance. It was also the first time he executed the flawless saber technique after his strength improved significantly. Heaven-swallowing represented the greatest ambition of the flawless saber technique. The flawless Tao was a kind of comprehension that Xiao Chen had. No matter what martial technique he cultivated, he would infuse this comprehension into it. There was no such thing as a perfect and flawless Tao in the world. There were only people who pursued flawlessness, endlessly perfecting it. After Xiao Chen drew the lunar shadow saber, he instantly unleashed all sorts of martial techniques related to the flawless Tao, forming thousands of mysterious phenomena. There was a soaring bright moon burning like fire, as if it was being watered with hot-bloodedness. That was the 1,000-year flame. There were the 4 seasons of reincarnation. That was the 4-season saber technique. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, flawless 4 seasons. The various mysterious phenomena were vast and boundless. Xiao Chen's flawless Tao vaguely formed a silhouette of a Tao. As the saber light chopped down, the thousands of mysterious phenomena formed a huge mouth to block the attacks of the many martial technique. The huge mouth opened and swallowed up all the martial techniques, drowning them in the flawless Tao. All sorts of horrifying mysterious phenomena within 50,000 kilometers vanished, devoured by Xiao Chen's saber strike. I'll return them to you. Xiao Chen smiled faintly. Just as he could no longer hold on, the saber light spun around in the air. Then, the huge mouth opened again and spat out everyone's martial technique. Icy sword lights, strong gales, berserk lightning under the guidance of the saber light, they all appeared. Like a dam breaking, they surged towards the 12 demon monarchs. Pu Ci. The 12 demon monarchs were immediately stupefied. What kind of strange martial technique was this? All of them got hit, severely injured by their consummate technique. Just as the many demon monarchs felt helpless, a brilliant light flashed in the eyes of the silent treasure master. Suddenly, he said, "Continue fighting. He is already an arrow at the end of its flight. He cannot last much longer." When Xiao Chen heard that, his heart sank. He cursed in his heart, wily old fox. Earlier, when Shao Chen knocked back the immortal statues with 17 punches, he had already put in a lot of effort. Now, he executed the heaven-swallowing stance to resolve the situation. Shao Chen's veritable essence, energy and vital qi were already on the verge of drying up. Fighting 12 demon monarchs at the same time was still somewhat taxing. Enough! Just at this moment, a furious shout came from the air. Zongtian, the Fox King, Emperor Forsaken, and the heaven-punishing corpse god appeared at the same time. At this critical moment they finally rushed over. Chapter 15:19. Zongtian, Emperor Forsaken, the Fox King, and the heaven-punishing corpse god arrived at the same time. They instantly deterred the restless 12 demon monarchs and the 6 primes fighting the cyclic astral lord, the bright moon empress, and the myriad law fiend master. They all stopped in regret. The two sides met up and faced each other. "Big brother, you came at the right time," Shao Chen thanked Zongtian. Zongtian smiled helplessly and said, "We are still too late. We have been guarding against a sneak attack from the 18 demon monarchs." Unexpectedly, the 18 demon monarchs would use the heavenly starry ocean as a breakthrough point and descend here. The 4 primes guarded their respective races and dealt with the aftermath. Back then, during the storm in the Blue Dragon Palace, when the 4 primes fought, their subordinates and friends fought even deeper battles because of their different stances. The damage they caused was extremely great. It took more than 2 months to deal with the aftermath before everything stabilized. At the same time, the 4 primes feared that the demons would take this opportunity to charge over. Hence, even though they found out about the chaotic situation in the heavenly starry ocean, they did not rush over immediately. After confirming that the 18 demon monarchs arrived in the heavenly starry ocean at the same time, they rushed over. That was not too late. At least, it gave Shao Chen a chance to catch his breath. Shao Chen's recovery ability was startling. The 4 primes could not defeat him in one go and wanted to continue attacking him. The 12 demon monarchs were already injured in the first place and would be exhausted to death. "What's going on?" the heaven-punishing corpse god asked in confusion when he saw the 18 demon monarchs standing behind the treasure master. The myriad law fiend master sighed and said, "He is the Dark Church's church master. He has been hiding in the heavenly starry ocean all this time. Today, he truly exposed himself." Emperor Forsaken narrowed his eyes as he looked at the treasure master. "Your distinguished self really hid deeply. To think that you even managed to fool me." The treasure master smiled leisurely and said indifferently, "I have fooled many people before. You are not the first, nor will you be the last." "Humph. Very well. In that case, I will settle this debt today. Let's see how strong you, the Dark Church's church master, are." The last time Emperor Forsaken fought the Dark Church's church master, they only managed to draw. Today was the right time. "Ha ha, you are still not a match for me. If not for me not wanting to expose my identity too early, I would have made it so that you would not be able to return last time." The treasure master laughed loudly, not caring much about Emperor Forsaken. Arrogant! Emperor Forsaken was enraged. He stretched out his hand and circulated the boundless power of faith. His body released rings of divine light as a huge deity finger pointed at the treasure master. "Impudent! How dare you disrespect the sect leader?" 3 figures flickered. The celestial demon monarch, the earth demon monarch, and the ice demon monarch stood in front of the treasure master, each making a move to block Emperor Forsaken's finger. Emperor Forsaken was slightly stunned. He did not expect his subordinate demon monarchs to be so loyal to the treasure master. "I feel that the space here is fluctuating greatly. This place seems to have become the port of a teleportation array. There will be a continuous stream of demon experts coming here." The cyclic astral lord, who was extremely sensitive to spatial formations, suddenly said softly with a frown. The Fox King continued, "Should we delay? The experts of the deity Dao Union, the Bushan Palace, and the fiend domain will arrive soon. At that time, we can capture all these demon monarchs and the treasure master in one fell swoop. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. This was gambling. If the experts of the demonic world arrived early, their group would be in trouble. On the other hand, if the reinforcements of the Kunlun continent arrived, the treasure master's side would definitely be at a disadvantage. However, could they afford to gamble now? As Xiao Chen pondered, he suddenly discovered many gazes on him. It turned out that many primes were waiting for him to make a decision. Xiao Chen, what is your decision? Ing Zongtian asked, handing the decision to Xiao Chen. Let's retreat. I'm somewhat tired. This was not physical fatigue but mental fatigue, the fatigue of learning some truth. Let's go. The 7 primes of the Kunlun realm worked together with Xiao Chen, escorting Heaven Dragon Island as they retreated step by step. Without the treasure master's orders, the 18 demon monarchs did not dare to give chase. Church Master, should we stop them? Xing Wang, Fa Wang, and the experts of the demonic world will arrive soon, the celestial demon monarch said angrily as he looked at Xiao Chen. The treasure master shook his head and said, there's no need. The deity Dao Union, the Bushan Palace, and the Fiend Domain's army are all there to receive them. There's no rush. After the demonic god is summoned, no one can save the Kunlun realm. Church Master is wise. The 18 demon monarchs said with cupped fist salute. No matter what they thought in their hearts, they did not dare to show any disrespect to the Dark Church's Church Master, or rather, the Treasure Master, on the surface. The worried hearts of the many Heavenly Star Island cultivators finally calmed down. With the 7 primes protecting them, Heavenly Star Island quickly flew into the clouds, carrying the last flame of the Heavenly Starry Ocean and quickly heading for the Kunlun continent. With no one to disturb them, the operation of the formation became increasingly smoother. It flew along with the Blue Dragon auspicious cloud. Ing Zongtian and the others followed behind unhurriedly, discussing something in soft voices. Most of their words were rather pessimistic. They discussed that the first thing to do after they returned was to move the ordinary people of the various races and the cultivators with lower cultivations to the back of Kunlun Mountain. The Kunlun mountain range spanned nearly the entire profound domain. At that time, as long as Kunlun Mountain was not broken through, these ordinary people and cultivators would be fine. As for the countless resources and cities facing the sea, they could only strategically give up on them. The Treasure Master's next attack would definitely be the decisive battle. The 17 immortal statues would be repaired once more, and their strength might even increase. At that time, it would be hard not to give up. Aside from Kunlun Mountain, the formations and cities of the other sects would find it hard to defend against the attacks of the immortal statues. Along the way, Xiao Chen remained rather silent, only quietly listening to the discussions of the crowd. This was a rare opportunity. Under such a life-or-death situation, the heaven-abandoning deity sovereign did not dare to have any other thoughts. Of course, Xiao Chen's deterrence was also a factor. Otherwise, it would be hard to say. When Ing Zongtian noticed that something was wrong with Xiao Chen, he asked, "What's wrong, Xiao Chen? I did not hear you say anything along the way. Didn't we already save Heavenly Star Island?" Xiao Chen remained silent for a while, not answering directly. He stopped and looked at the crowd. "Who do you think the Treasure Master is?" The Treasure Master is indeed the Treasure Master. However, he now has the identity of the Dark Church's Church Master, the cyclic Astral Lord answered without even thinking. The others could not understand Xiao Chen's question. Could it be that there was more to it than meets the eye? The oldest of the group, the Myriad Law Fiend Master, thought for a while before saying, "The Treasure Master's identity is mysterious, and his origins are a mystery. For as long as I can remember, the Treasure Master's residence already existed in the Heavenly Starry Ocean and controlled the sea markets of the Heavenly Starry Ocean, which are those immortal statues. That is to say, the Treasure Master is just a title, like the Master of a sect, passed down from generation to generation? The heaven-punishing corpse god thought about it and felt that something was wrong. Suddenly, Exhilarating thought of something. He said, "That's not right." In the past, everyone did not know that he was the Dark Church's church master. At that time, we could say that the title of the treasure master was passed down from generation to generation. However, now, no matter how we think about it, that is not right. That was right. If he were the Dark Church's church master, then he would have been living in the deep abyss demonic world. It was impossible for him to appear in the heavenly starry ocean and establish the treasure master's residence without causing any commotion. After all, the Dark Church's church master would definitely attract some attention when he came to the Kunlun realm. Suddenly, the bright moon empress said, "The treasure master's residence was established after the demonic calamity 10,000 years ago. My bright moon palace had an old man from the same generation as the Qing emperor. I asked her about it. 10,000 years ago, the immortal statues were still in the hands of different factions. After the Qing emperor died, the treasure master's residence rose up and merged with the other factions, gaining complete control of all the sea markets." After hearing what the bright moon empress said, everyone thought about it carefully and felt a chill run down their spine. Based on this speculation, the treasure master might very well be a person of the Kunlun continent. Then, they thought about the treasure master's other identity. In other words, the Dark Church's church master was a person of the Kunlun realm. This was simply incredible. If that was true, how horrifying was this person? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many sharp gazes looked at Shao Qin. Emperor Forsaken said, "Shao Qin, do you know the treasure master's true identity?" Chapter 15:20. Half a day later, Shao Qin and the others arrived in the profound domain. When they looked up, they could see the highest peak of Kunlun Mountain, which towered into the clouds. The silent Shao Qin revealed an expression of joy. He said to Immortal, "Open the barrier and let her in." After all the demon cultivators appeared, many ferocious demonic beasts appeared. However, as the demons grew stronger, the scattered management of Kunlun Mountain's guards became unified. They formed an independent faction called the Kunlun Palace, which stood above the various large sections. Be it the deity race or the Bushan Palace, they cannot interfere in the matters of the Kunlun Palace. Many people did not understand why the treasure master, who possessed 16 immortal statues and could command the 18 demon monarchs at any time, did not launch an all-out attack. Now that they thought about it, the only thing they feared was this unfathomable Kunlun Palace. Many pairs of sharp gazes stared at Shao Qin, somewhat surprising him. However, he really did not want to answer this question now. After arriving in the profound domain, Shao Qin naturally thought of the saber sword two sovereigns. He should have added the word former. However, all of this was fabricated. No matter what he said, it was pointless. However, the news of the demonic calamity had already spread everywhere. The entire Kunlun realm was discussing it. The undulating Kunlun mountain range crossed the entire profound domain, splitting it in half. Whoosh! This is the news that Yu brought back not long ago. Originally, I wanted to tell you earlier. However, the heavenly starry ocean is in chaos, and I did not dare to go over. I thought that you would come to Kunlun Mountain sooner or later, so I waited here. Return to Kunlun Mountain and quickly inform the various races to retreat. Countless black lights flickered endlessly, looking exceptionally eye-catching on the boundless sea. Those were demonic world cultivators currently forming groups and teleporting over in the form of an army. The dark mass stretched as far as the eye could see. No one knew how many demons there were. Just as everyone was about to ask, an overwhelming demonic chi suddenly came from the distance. The demonic chi was so strong that even Exhilarating and the others, who were almost at the edge of the continent, could feel it. Tens of millions of demon cultivators appeared in the distance. To the small deep abyss demonic world, this was the entire population mobilizing. When Shao Qin heard Yu's name, He had a bad feeling. Then, he thought of something. Suddenly, a pretty figure flew over in front, tearing through the air. Her target was Heavenly Star Island. Xiao Chen's eyes narrowed, and a strange look flashed in his eyes. It was Ying Qiong from the Ying family. He had not seen Ying Qiong for many years. He wondered why Ying Qiong was here. He seems to be from the profound domains Ying clan, the cyclic astral lord said uncertainly as he looked at Ying Qiong. Emperor Forsaken and the others had no time to think. They turned around and quickly left. At the same time, he felt a chill run down his spine. If he hadn't listened to Xiao Chen's suggestion and dragged on a little longer, they would have been completely surrounded. He immediately asked the Myriad Law Fiend King about this question. Emperor Forsaken's question also represented the doubts of the other supreme martial artists. How could Xiao Chen have brought up this topic for no reason, stirring up everyone's suspicions? Soon, the armies of the deity Dao Union, the Bushan Palace, the Corpse God Palace, and the Fiend Domain arrived. Emperor Forsaken and the others took their leave in a hurry. Boom! In the next few days, the supreme martial artists would be busy. They needed to evacuate the low-leveled cultivators and commoners under their jurisdiction in the shortest time possible. When the primes saw this scene, their expressions turned grave, forgetting about the earlier topic. If this legendary character were still around, together with Xiao Chen, this demonic calamity would not be a problem. The deep abyss demonic world has moved out in full force. They have already cut off their path of retreat. Emperor Forsaken said sullenly with a frown. Xiao Chen felt confused. He did not know why there was a need to avoid arousing suspicion. At the mention of the Thunder King, the cyclic astral lord and the bright moon empress showed somewhat gloomy expressions. Right now, the saber sovereign was himself. Chu Chaoyun probably snatched away the sword sovereign medallion. The Myriad Law Fiend Master introduced some things about Kunlun Mountain to Xiao Chen. Then, he continued, furthermore, the various major factions know very little about how strong the Kunlun Palace is. Once the cultivators of the various races enter the Kunlun Palace, they rarely come out and do not leak too much information. Then, Ying Qiong's figure flashed a few times, and he arrived before Xiao Chen. The Myriad Law Fiend Master muttered, "This is, if the Kunlun realm had not fallen into chaos, the deity Dao Union and the Bushan Palace would not have fought so intensely. Both sides would have suffered severe injuries, and the deep abyss demonic world would not have had an opportunity to make a move." After exchanging some pleasantries, Ying Qiong said to Xiao Chen, "Xiao Chen, can I have a word with you?" Xiao Chen remained silent. His expression changed slightly, and he no longer asked about the Kunlun Palace. Clearly, the profound domain was affected as well. Xiao Chen discovered that they passed to the west of the Kunlun mountain range. This place was clearly much more desolate than before. The various large clans of the profound domain must have received news and made preparations in advance, retreating to the rear of Kunlun Mountain. The guards of Kunlun Mountain are very special. There are not many of them. There are cultivators of the various races. However, they are all elites selected in secret. They have existed since the martial epoch. At first, they were rather scattered. The various races sent some people to protect the Kunlun realm together. This humble girl, Ying Qiong, greets the primes. Ying Qiong knew the rules very well. After she arrived, she greeted the cyclic astral lord and the others first. The profound domain looked calm and peaceful. This neutral territory that connected the various races had not suffered any attacks for now. The Fiend Masters had participated in a demonic calamity and could not avoid interacting with the Kunlun Palace. "Xiao Chen, do you know the true identity of the Treasure Master?" The Myriad Law Fiend Master smiled softly and said, "The three of us have interacted with this Kunlun Palace before. However, we are not familiar with many of them. If the Thunder King were still around, we would be familiar with many of them. After all, the Thunder King experienced the most demonic calamities. Many of the upper echelon of the Kunlun Palace are humans in the first place. They received the Thunder King's favor or guidance. When Shao Chun looked back, he saw clumps of demonic clouds covering the sky where Heavenly Star Island originally was. We'll talk about it later. I am not sure either. Ying Qiong continued. Chu Chaoyun used lightning-quick methods to occupy the Sky Dome realm. The various sects of the Martial Empire were all destroyed. Now there is only one empire left, the Heavenly Emperor Wu's nation. The emperor is Chu Chaoyun himself. Are the people of my Shao clan all right? Ying Yu sent back news that Chu Chaoyun captured all the people of the Shao clan. It is unknown whether they are alive or dead, Ying Qiong said in a low voice, not daring to look at Shao Chun. Shao Chun looked at the myriad law fiend master and said, others might not understand this Kunlun Palace, but senior fiend master should know more, right? This is my friend. The Ying clan is also a clan that submitted to the Qing Emperor 10,000 years ago. They have been taking care of the Shao clan in secret for many years. No wonder the treasure master said that Shao Chun had called for reinforcements from Kunlun Mountain. It looked like the treasure master understood the Kunlun Palace very well. However, after thinking about it, it made sense. Given that person's identity, it was impossible for him not to understand the Kunlun Palace. After the treasure master followed Ying Qiong some distance away, the smile on Ying Qiong's face vanished. With a grave expression, he said, Shao Chun, you have to be mentally prepared for what I said. Don't get too excited. Given such a shocking scene, it was no longer important who the treasure master was. So what if Shao Chun knew? Could it be that if he knew, he could immediately kill the other party? Suddenly, Shao Chun recalled something. The treasure master once thought that Shao Chun had gone to Kunlun Mountain to call for reinforcements. At that time, Shao Chun felt somewhat suspicious. Are the people of Kunlun Mountain very strong? As for Shao Chun, he headed for Kunlun Mountain with the Myriad Law Fiend Master, the Cyclic Astral Lord, and the Bright Moon Empress. Logically speaking, the Kunlun Palace had existed since the martial epoch and had a long inheritance. Furthermore, it had absorbed the elites of the 5 major races, secretly nurturing them since they were young. They should be very strong. In fact, after Shao Chun rose up, he might even reorganize the various major factions and charge into the demonic world. Of course, the most important thing is that the minor demonic calamity occurs once every few thousand years. Most of the time, the Kunlun Palace does not have much of a presence. It will not interfere with the matters of the outside world. It is like this faction does not exist at all. Naturally, there is no need to pay attention to it. Shao Chen's heart sank, but his expression did not change. He tried to find some clues on Ying Qiong's face. After failing to find anything, he said, I promise you. What is it? Or rather, as long as the Thunder King was still around, Shao Chen's tribulation would not be that simple, and the Kunlun realm would not fall into chaos. Shao Chen now understood. Now, he had a rough understanding of this Kunlun Palace. It felt like a paradise. It was rather similar to what he remembered. Chapter 15:21. Contrary to Ying Qiong's expectations, Shao Chen's expression did not change much, appearing rather calm. Are you all right? Ying Qiong asked carefully. After all, she was somewhat responsible for this matter. Right now, she was the Ying clan's clan head. The great Qin Empire of the Sky Dome realm was equivalent to the Ying clan. No matter what, she was somewhat responsible for not being able to protect Shao Chen's family. Shao Chen smiled faintly, not wanting to put any pressure on Ying Qiong. He said, I'm fine. Thank you for protecting my family for so long. You should not feel indebted. Are you really fine? Ying Qiong asked in some disbelief. Shao Chen nodded and said, I'm really fine. Chu Chaoyun promised me that he would not touch my family. Furthermore, he has something in my hands. Perhaps it has something to do with my control. Upon hearing this explanation, Ying Qiong felt relieved of a heavy burden. She heaved a sigh of relief and said, That's good. Otherwise, I would blame myself for the rest of my life. Xiao Chen felt embarrassed in his heart. He smiled and said, "Don't overthink. The Ying clan has already moved, right? Do you have time?" Ying Qiong answered honestly, "Yes, they have already moved to the rear. Once the demonic calamity starts, all the clans and factions of the profound domain will move over. They are already very experienced." "Good. In that case, help me with something." "What is it? Just tell me. If I can help, I will definitely do my best." Xiao Chen turned around and pointed to Heavenly Star Island. "The people on this island are all cultivators of the heavenly starry ocean. They have never been to the Kunlun continent before. There will definitely be a lot of trouble moving them. At that time, can you help to make arrangements for them?" Ying Qiong smiled and said, "It's just a small matter. Leave it to me." "In that case, many thanks in advance. Come with me. I'll introduce you to them." Right. The two returned to the top of the city wall, trying to find some clues from Xiao Chen's expression. Unfortunately, they found nothing. This was especially so for Emochin. Her eyes occasionally stared at Ying Qiong, her attention clearly on this girl. "Emochin." "Ah." Suddenly, Xiao Chen called out to Emochin, startling the other party to his senses. Immediately, Xiao Chen's face revealed a trace of worry. "I was going to ask you and Ying Qiong to help settle everyone down. Looks like I didn't think it through. You're too tired from presiding over the array. Go and rest for a while." Emochin blushed slightly, feeling somewhat embarrassed. She shook her head and said, "It's fine. I don't need to rest." "Are you sure?" "I really don't need it." Xiao Chen found this somewhat strange. However, it was not good for him to ask. He looked at the three primes and said, "Seniors, I have some matters to attend to and have to rush back to the Sky Dome realm. I will not be able to accompany everyone to the Kunlun Palace." The Sky Dome realm. It seems that the Kunlun realm and the demonic world have an agreement not to allow Emperor Wu to enter, the Myriad Law Fiend Master said with a frown. The Bright Moon Empress said, "Right now, the demonic world and the Kunlun realm are focused on the Kunlun realm. No one should pay attention to these rules. Xiao Chen, why are you going to the Sky Dome realm? Is that okay?" "Many thanks for seniors' concern. It's just some trivial matters. I'll come back after I deal with them. Be careful." After saying goodbye to everyone, Xiao Chen tore open a hole in the sky and searched for the Sky Dome realm, sensing it. After a while, he sensed the Sky Dome realm, which was once an immortal's residence. Then, his figure flashed and he barged in. During the Immortal epoch, the 3,000 lower realms were all Immortal Lord residences. After the Martial epoch, it slowly developed into a miniature world attached to the Kunlun realm. Previously, Xiao Chen did not feel much about the Sky Dome realm. However, after he found out that he was the Sky Dome Immortal Lord's reincarnation, he could not help but feel some ripples in his heart. It was hard to imagine that long ago, this place was once his residence. No wonder his luck in the Sky Dome realm had always been heaven-defying. He had survived so many calamities and never died. Perhaps the Sky Dome realm's heavenly Tao was watching over him. Strange, why do I feel that this Sky Dome realm is rejecting me? Xiao Chen, who had just entered the Sky Dome realm, said doubtfully without frowning. In the past, when Xiao Chen entered the Sky Dome realm, he did not feel anything strange or terrible. It was just ordinary. However, this time, the moment Xiao Chen entered, he felt a sense of exclusion. Although it was not intense, it was definitely there. Could it be that Chu Chaoyun has already merged the complete Sky Dome heart and refined it? Never mind, I will not think about this. The other party is determined to obtain it. This is just a matter of time. Right now, Xiao Chen felt rather calm. He had not lied to Ying Qiong. Firstly, Xiao Chen had the heavenly flame, a treasure that Chu Chaoyun yearned for day and night without touching. Secondly, Chu Chaoyun once promised Xiao Chen that he would not touch his family. Xiao Chen looked around and opened his heavenly eye. Then, His vision traversed thousands of kilometers, looking in the direction of Mo City. In the next moment, Shao Chen casually tore space and instantly appeared in the Shao residence. "Second brother, you really came." After a momentary daze, Shao Jian's voice rang out. Then, Shao Chen looked around. He discovered that he was in the dueling ground of the Shao clan. Everyone in the Shao clan was there. When they saw Shao Chen, they all felt extremely excited, their excitement evident in their words. They all came over to greet Shao Chen. However, Shao Jian scolded them and scolded them. The familiar scene relaxed Shao Chen somewhat. "Big brother, there is no need to be so serious." Shao Jian smiled and said, "Let's go somewhere else and have a word." Shao Chen nodded. After they were far away, Shao Jian said, "The great Qin nation toppled overnight. The entire Sky Dome realm has already reinstated the banner of the Tianwu dynasty. The dynasty has changed, and Chu Chaoyun is now king. The Shao clan is still fine. Everyone is fine. They are just surrounded. Chu Chaoyun's attitude is rather good. I wonder what he is up to." In one breath, Shao Jian told Shao Chen everything that happened in the past few days. It was more or less as Shao Chen guessed. Chu Chaoyun did not make things difficult for the Shao clan. However, Shao Jian knew his limits and did not dare to act rashly. He strictly forbade the Shao clan disciples from going out. Now that the outside world was in chaos, the Shao clan was still rather calm. "Where's father?" Shao Chen asked. Shao Jian replied, "Father is doing well. He is currently drinking tea with Chu Chaoyun in the Great Hall. He said that you would arrive before sunset at the latest. Unexpectedly, you really did come. It looks like this fellow has spies in the Kunlun realm as well. He is very well informed. I'll go and meet him." The two headed for the Great Hall. When they got close, they heard Chu Chaoyun's voice. "This is Superior Grade Misty Cloud Tea. Its full name is Misty Cloud Tea. Uncle, try it properly. In the future, brew it by yourself at home. Remember, the first brew requires at least 10 breaths. Otherwise, the Misty Cloud Immortal Qi will not be able to precipitate." Chu Chaoyun seemed to have a deep understanding of tea. As he spoke, he drew on the classics in great detail, appearing ingenious and lively. "Good tea," Shao Chen said as he stepped over the threshold with Shao Jian. Chu Chaoyun put down his teacup and looked at Shao Chen. He smiled faintly and said, "You have not tasted it yet. How do you know it is good tea?" "You are not me. How do you know that I do not know?" Shao Chen argued. Then, he walked over and picked up his teacup to take a sip. The tip of his tongue tasted sweet, and the fragrance lingered in his mouth. It was like misty clouds, like immortal qi. Shao Chen put down his teacup and looked at Chu Chaoyun. "This is indeed good tea. Chu Chaoyun, you are really willing to part with it?" Chu Chaoyun raised his eyebrows slightly. Then, he smiled and said, "One can only gain by giving up something, right? Chun'er, why are you back?" Shao Chen explained and comforted his father. "I came back to take a look. Lord Father, I will go out with Brother Chu to discuss some matters. I will be back in a while." Shao Xiong was not a fool. He knew that while the two appeared to be chatting cheerfully, they were actually at loggerheads with each other. Shao Xiong nodded and did not say anything. "Let's go out and talk," Shao Chen said as he looked at Chu Chaoyun. "That is exactly what I was thinking." Right after Shao Chen spoke, the two left the Shao clan's great hall as though they had teleported. Then, they appeared at the summit of Seven Horn Mountain, facing each other. Clouds surrounded the summit, and the wind blew at the two's clothes and hair. Shao Chen waved his hand and tossed the heavenly flame to Chu Chaoyun. "This is the heavenly flame's origin flame, the big gift you wanted." Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly and said, "This gift is indeed big. However, I do not need it." Hu Qi. With a wave of his hand, Chu Chaoyun gently fanned the heavenly flame's origin flame back. Shao Chen caught the crystal containing the heavenly flame's origin flame. Then, he looked at the other party and asked in surprise, "What do you want?" Chapter 1522. What do you want, then? Xiao Chen found this strange. Chu Chaozhu did not even want the heavenly flame. This was a treasure that the other party wanted to obtain. In that case, what could be more attractive than the heavenly flame's origin flame? I want a promise from you. Xiao Chen felt stunned. He looked at the other party and said, "All right, I promise you. There's something else I want to ask you. Do you know who the treasure master is?" Chu Chaozhu was stunned for a moment. He did not know why Xiao Chen agreed without even thinking. After a while, Chu Chaozhu replied, "Naturally, I do. His other identity in the deep abyss demonic world is the Dark Church's church master. However, I rarely interacted with him. Most of the time, he does not appear in the demonic world. He also leaves the matters of the sect to the two vice church masters." Xiao Chen entered deep thought. Then, he muttered, "Actually, I have been meaning to ask, what is your relationship with him?" Chu Chaoyun smiled and said, "There is no relationship. I only met him once. I helped him with something, and he helped me with something. That is all. More accurately, he should be an enemy now. If you cannot kill him, the one who will kill him will be me." Xiao Chen revealed a contemplative expression. It looked like Chu Chaoyun did not know about the treasure master's other identity. In the entire world, probably only he would think of that person. If not for learning some things in the Blue Dragon Palace, Xiao Chen would not have thought this way. He could only say that that person hid very well. After thinking for a long time, Xiao Chen said, "I feel that we can talk about the grudges between us. I already have a rough idea. Don't worry. I will not want the divine item that the Tianwu Emperor left behind. You can just leave." Chu Chaoyun smiled and said, "The divine item is just a catalyst. There is no way to reconcile the differences between us. I will repeat everything that the last Tianwu Emperor did 10,000 years ago, unless you stop asking." Xiao Chen was speechless when he heard that. The last Tianwu Emperor 10,000 years ago wanted to merge the 3,000 lower realms. Then, he wanted to swallow up the luck of the entire Kunlun realm before leaving the abandoned land, sacrificing the future of everyone in Kunlun for him alone. Seeing that Xiao Chen was silent, Chu Chaoyun continued with a smile, "I already said long ago that we have the same goal. Unfortunately, a battle is inevitable." Xiao Chen frowned and said, "Why? So many people want to leave the land of exile, but it is difficult to succeed. You have this opportunity, so you should cherish it. Why do you have to be so ambitious?" Ambition? Chu Chaoyun smiled bitterly in his heart, but he didn't want to say much about this matter, nor did he want to explain anything. "With your talent, I believe that even without the luck of the entire Kunlun realm, you can still make a name for yourself outside the abandoned land." Chu Chaoyun didn't say anything. He didn't answer. He needed to defeat the person. It wasn't that simple. Even if he used up his entire life, he might not be able to injure the other party. Only by obtaining the luck of the entire Kunlun realm would he have a chance. "You should go. Your family is safer in the Sky Dome realm than in the Kunlun realm. I will help you take good care of them." Since they didn't get along, Chu Chaoyun was not in the mood to continue the conversation. So, he asked Xiao Chen to leave. "Goodbye." Xiao Chen's face sank. Similarly, he didn't want to say more. He simply could not understand why the other party insisted on doing this. Do unto others what you do not want others to do unto you. This had always been Xiao Chen's principle. He would never do something for the sake of his own selfishness, ignoring the rest of the world. Chu Chaoyun didn't want to explain, either. After all, even if he did, Xiao Chen wouldn't understand, either. "Those who know me say that I am worried. Those who do not know me say that I seek something." As Xiao Chen took his leave, he recalled a scene from the past. When the 7 thrones merged, he saw the end of fate. Chu Chaoyun stood in the Sky Dome realm, merging the 3,000 lower realms and waiting for him to fight. It seemed like fate really could not be changed. After saying goodbye to Chu Chaoyun, Shao Chen was in no rush to leave the Sky Dome realm. Since he came to the Sky Dome realm, he had to spend a few days at the Shao clan. The many things that happened in the Kunlun realm fatigued Shao Chen, preventing him from resting properly. Perhaps this would be his last leisure time in the Kunlun realm. After this, he would have to face the demonic calamity of the Kunlun realm. He would either die or live. 3 days later, Shao Chen left the Sky Dome realm and returned to the Kunlun realm's profound domain. Shao Chen walked alone to the foot of the highest peak of Kunlun Mountain. This peak towered into the clouds. No one knew where the summit was. Rumor had it that the Kunlun Road was at this peak. If one walked up this peak, one would be able to leave the Kunlun realm. However, this Kunlun Road was now a dead end. Very few people dared to take it. Only those who were truly on the brink of death would muster the courage to take it. Along the way, Shao Chen discovered that the western side of the mountain range had already become completely deserted. In a mere 3 days, all the sects and clans that could retreat had retreated to the eastern side of the mountain range. This Kunlun mountain was like the final barrier of the entire Kunlun realm. A long line lined up at the foot of the mountain. Countless cultivators wanted to enter this peak. Most of them were loose cultivators. Without any sect connections, they did not have the authority to pass directly. Shao Chen glanced at the line. If he had to line up, who knew how long he would have to wait before he could truly enter the mountain? Just as Shao Chen hesitated over whether to sneak in or not, 2 figures descended from the sky and landed before Shao Chen. "You are Shao Chen." These 2 wore long robes and carried treasured swords on their back. Their attire was the same as Emperor Wu's. Shao Chen nodded and took out his lunar shadow saber to verify his identity. "It's the lunar shadow saber. This saber of the Blue Dragon King Shao Chen is the best proof. We are the Kunlun Palace's 4th-generation disciples. On the orders of Palace Master Feng, we are here to receive you." After verifying his identity, the 2 looked at Shao Chen with an additional trace of respect and deference. Shao Chen, who had been worried about not knowing the way and not wanting to line up, did not think too much and followed the 2. As Shao Chen followed the 2, he flew up. Along the way, he met with many gazes sizing him up. Vaguely, this unremarkable mountain peak hid many checkpoints and experts guarding the checkpoints. "I wonder what the Kunlun Palace is like." Shao Chen was also very curious about their palace master. He did not know how strong such a mysterious person was. An existence that even the treasure master feared should not be weak. At the very least, he would not be weaker than the primes. After flying through the clouds, Shao Chen saw a palace. This palace stood on a cliff. Clouds and mist lingered around it, making it look like one was floating in a sea of clouds. As they rose and fell, it looked like a fairyland. As Shao Chen approached the plaza in front of the palace, he discovered many young cultivators cultivating. He felt shocked in his heart. These youths were all existences that the outside world had never heard of. However, their cultivations were no weaker than those of the outstanding talents of the outside world. The 3 of them flew quickly and soon passed the plaza. The disciples in the plaza all put down their weapons and curiously sized up Shao Chen as he flew by. "Is he the Blue Dragon King? He is very young. He looks even younger than us. Rumor has it that he is already the strongest person in the Kunlun realm, someone who surpassed primes." "That's impossible. Could he be stronger than the palace master?" "That should be true. Didn't you see the palace master personally invite him? However, it is hard to say if he is stronger than the palace master." Among the disciples discussing, there was a girl who appeared disappointed and frustrated, not saying anything. This girl was Ling Liusu. Back then, the Phoenix's Passion Palace's holy daughter, Nuan Myun, sent her to the Kunlun Palace before she went to the astral battlefield. After that, Nuan Myun died in the astral battlefield, and Ling Liusu never left. Just as Shao Chen was about to reach the main hall, he suddenly stopped and turned around to take a careful look. In that brief glance, Shao Chen vaguely saw someone familiar. At this moment, he squinted and discovered Leng Liusu. Immediately, all sorts of memories flooded into Shao Chen's mind. After not seeing her for a long time, Shao Chen thought that she had fallen in the astral battlefield like Nuanmun. When Shao Chen first entered the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, something interesting had happened to this person, who was once the young pavilion master of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. However, after that, Shao Chen did not have much interaction with her, nearly forgetting about her. Blue Dragon King, you are familiar with one of these junior brothers and sisters. Shao Chen nodded and said, there is one. Do you want to meet her? If it is not long, the palace master should be able to wait. Never mind, it is better not to meet her. After meeting her, Shao Chen did not know what to say. He shook his head and withdrew his gaze. Chapter 1523. Junior Sisterling, the Blue Dragon King seemed to be looking at you earlier. Indeed, that seems to be the case. He looked for a long time. Will he come over? Hey, he's gone. The disciples in the plaza had been paying attention to Shao Chen's every move. When he turned around, they naturally saw him clearly. With a sigh, the commotion quietly died down. Leng Liusu smiled faintly. She did not feel much disappointment or melancholy. Everyone had their own fortuitous encounters. There was no need to be envious or thirsty. At the very least, the other party could look at her one last time. This meant that he had not forgotten. That was already sufficient. There were no regrets. The Kunlun Palace was like a large courtyard built on a mountain. All the buildings were painted with a faint layer of golden paint. That was not pure golden paint. Instead, it was made from some special divine material after it was crushed and refined. Aside from being aesthetically pleasing, it could be used with formations, increasing the might of the formations. Shao Chen had a feeling that while it looked like he was walking in the palace, he was actually isolated from the outside by some kind of formation. The entire Kunlun Palace gave off layers of faint golden light. As one walked in it, everything looked golden. The two Kunlun Palace disciples were bathed in a layer of light. As for Shao Chen, he looked the same as before he entered the mountain. This further confirmed Shao Chen's guess that he was not included in the formation. If the person in charge of the formation wanted to, they could squeeze him out at any time. Of course, this was under the premise that Shao Chen did not resist. It was noble but not tacky. It matched the aura of the Kunlun Palace, which surpassed all the sects in the world. The palace at the highest point had a staircase made of white jade, winding all the way down. Shao Chen followed the two Kunlun Palace swordsmen up. When he arrived at his destination, he saw the words, Qingyang Hall written on the palace. It was said that the founder of the Kunlun Palace was an extremely strong cultivator named Feng Qingyang. Later on, Qingyang Hall became the main palace. Only the palace master and a few elders could enter. We cannot enter this Qingyang Hall. Senior Blue Dragon King, please enter by yourself. The palace master and some elders have already been waiting for a long time, the sword-wielding disciple said with a smile. After muttering to himself for a while, Shao Chen stepped into the hall, but what greeted him was darkness. It formed a stark contrast with the bright background outside. Under the dim light, the hall was filled with a sinister and eerie smell. Xiao! 6 rays of light flashed, and 6 figures appeared in the dark space. There were a total of 5 people on the left and right, and the person sitting on the main seat at the front must be the palace lord. In the dark space, the 5 elders and the Kunlun Palace's master were all encased in light, their figures clearly visible. As for Shao Chen himself, he was bathed in the darkness and seemed to be one with it. However, the palace master had his back to Shao Chen and did not turn around. This strange arrangement made Shao Chen slightly uncomfortable. However, he still politely asked, "Palace Master, what business do you have with me? Take a guess?" The Kunlun Palace's palace master still did not turn around. He said some mischievous words, making Shao Chen depressed. Take a guess? The meaning of these two words was clear and concise. Xiao Chen naturally understood it, but he didn't have the time to guess. Goodbye. Respect was mutual. Since Xiao Chen was willing to come, he was showing respect to the other party. The other party had his back to Xiao Chen, yet he said such childish words. That was disrespectful. In that case, there was no point in Xiao Chen staying. He still had to go to the Dragon's Gate's people's situation. You want to leave? I'm afraid that is not up to you. One of the 5 Kunlun Palace elders said indifferently with a cold snort. Xiao Chen recognized these 5 people. He had seen them once after the road to Emperor and once after the incident at the Blue Dragon Palace. However, those were images. This time they were real people. Xiao Chen had always held respect for these 5 elders. He stopped and said, "Seniors, what exactly is the matter? Just get straight to the point." Whoosh! Right after the Kunlun Palace's palace master spoke, he suddenly turned around and looked at Xiao Chen. The Kunlun Palace's palace master's gaze was like a sharp saber light flickering with resplendent light in the darkness, carrying an incredibly tyrannical and sharp aura as it pierced towards Xiao Chen. What a tyrannical saber might! Where did this person come from? Xiao Chen thought to himself. Then, he used his Dao might and easily blocked the other party's saber might. Whoosh! 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 In the dark space, the pillars of light encasing the 6 suddenly vanished. Then, they layered over each other and encased Xiao Chen. Immediately, Xiao Chen could not see the other 6 in this pitch-black palace. Instead, he was exposed to the 6. His every move, even the slightest movement, could be seen clearly. Interesting. Xiao Chen's lips curled up slightly. Are they going to force me to tell them something? Blue Dragon King, now that the Kunlun realm is in danger, please tell us how to surpass Prime. A voice rang out in the darkness. Please forgive us for using such means. In this Azure Yang Palace, the strength of outsiders will be suppressed by half. As long as you are willing to tell us the secret to surpassing Prime, we will naturally let you leave. Let's work together to resist the demons and survive this calamity. I hope you can think of the big picture and not act rashly. Xiao Chen's heart sank. It turned out that this was a trap for him. He circulated his veritable essence energy slightly. He discovered that when he circulated his veritable essence energy, it did not affect him at all. However, since the other party said that his strength would be reduced by half, it should be true. Suddenly thinking about it, Xiao Chen somewhat understood what was going on. From the start to the end, he had not been merged into the Kunlun Palace's formation. Perhaps this was where the problem came from. There was no problem with circulating his veritable essence energy. However, his offensive and destructive power would be affected. Unfortunately, Xiao Chen hated it the most. He would not compromise at all when others forced him or threatened him. Originally, Xiao Chen still had some respect for these people. Now, he no longer had any, only deep loathing. Hiding your head and showing your tail. If you have something to say it to me face to face. Xiao Chen snorted coldly and ignored the other party's barrage of questions. After all the questions, there was only one meaning: to hand over the secret to surpassing Prime. Not to mention that there was no secret, even if there were, Xiao Chen would not be scared into handing it over. If there was a problem, it would be fine as long as everyone discussed it peacefully. What was the point of setting up such a trap? It looks like you do not agree. In that case, we can only use some forceful method. A strand of sword qi silently shot towards Xiao Chen in the darkness. Dang! Xiao Chen held his saber horizontally in front of him and blocked this strand of sword qi. Then, he quickly retreated 100 meters. The light encasing Xiao Chen persisted without scattering, looking like a ghost. As for the person who attacked, he remained hidden in the darkness, nowhere to be seen. Dang! 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 The 5 elders worked together to attack Xiao Chen like a flood. Shao Chun calmly made his move, retreating step by step, dealing with the moves as they came. The other party's figure was hidden in the darkness, invisible to the naked eye and hard to detect with spiritual sense. An invisible barrier blocked the attacks that Shao Chun sent out, reducing their might by half. He was in a very passive position. The 5 old men did not give up. All sorts of killing moves appeared one after another. They came from different races. Some were of the deity race, some were of the human race, and some were of the ghost race. Their moves were all very experienced. Shao Chun was like a small boat in a violent storm, drifting in the wind like he would capsize at any moment. Hand over the secret technique that surpasses Prime, and everything can be discussed. Otherwise, you can forget about leaving the hall. The Kunlun realm is in danger. Blue Dragon King, are you still going to be so selfish? The roars were like thunder. As the 5 elders supported Shao Chun, they continuously shouted at him. How noisy! Unable to endure any longer, Shao Chun shouted coldly and suddenly drew the lunar shadow saber. Whoosh! The instant Shao Chun drew the saber light, a resplendent saber light lit up the entire hall. The 5 old men could no longer hide. Lingyun's stance, void-breaking stance, dragon-subduing stance, falling moon stance, heartbreaking stance. In that instant, Shao Chun executed the flawless saber technique. It was like he split into 5. With the support of great Tao energy, every move contained startling might. Pusi. The 5 old men revealed horrified expressions as their defenses were torn. They vomited a mouthful of blood and went flying back. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The afterimages merged, and Shao Chun sheathed his saber. Kasie. Suddenly, a finger snapped in the darkness. The entire hall was brightly lit, and the darkness swept away. This was the first time Shao Chun saw the situation in the hall clearly. The 5 old men that he knocked back were nowhere to be seen. Only one person remained standing on the throne in the hall. This person's hair was disheveled, and he looked at Shao Chun with a sinister smile. Indeed, you are the Thunder King's inheritor. You did not disappoint me. Chapter 1524. Shao Chun felt that something was wrong. Just as he was feeling suspicious, many figures walked out of the hall. Among them were Ing Zongtian, Emperor Forsaken, the Myriad Law Fiend Master, the Bright Moon Empress, and other familiar people. There were also many old men that Shao Chun did not recognize. However, without exception, they were all experts, the supreme elders of the Kunlun Palace. As for the sloppy bladesman in front, he was even more mysterious and unfathomable. At the very least, he was a prime. Big brother, what's going on? Shao Chun looked at Ing Zongtian somewhat helplessly, wanting an explanation. Otherwise, he would not be in a good mood. Ing Zongtian smiled and said, "Don't misunderstand. This is a test. We are discussing who should be the leader of the alliance to resist the demons. The Myriad Law Fiend Master, the others, and I recommended little brother Shao Chun. However, these 5 old men do not believe in your strength and want to recommend their palace master. Hence, we set up this trap, hoping to agitate you and make you attack without holding back, to see your true strength." As the deity race elders spoke, the 5 old men that Shao Chun injured earlier walked out again. Their injuries were much better now. The deity race elders looked at Shao Chun and said, "Sorry, we had no choice but to resort to such a method. Without truly testing your strength, we could not feel at ease. There is only one chance. If we fail, the entire Kunlun realm will be destroyed. We need to be cautious about who should be the leader." After understanding the whole story, Shao Chun did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, he was not a petty person. Furthermore, although he was upset, the other party had already apologized. So, Shao Chun could not blame them. Alright, back to the main topic. Since we have already recommended Shao Chun to be the alliance chief, we have no more dispute. Let's discuss the demonic calamity that we are about to face. The Kunlun Palace's palace master clapped his hands, and the entire roof of the Azure Sun Hall suddenly separated, revealing the sky and clouds. A rectangular table made of dragon-patterned wood appeared in front of everyone. With everyone's recommendation, Shao Qin and the Kunlun Palace's palace master sat together at the head of the dragon's head. On the right sat the 7 primes of the Kunlun realm: Ingzongtian, Emperor Forsaken, the heaven-punishing corpse god, the Fox King, the Myriad Law Fiend Master, the Bright Moon Empress, and the Cyclic Astral Lord. On the left were the 8 elders of the Kunlun Palace. All of them were half-step primes and very old. Many of them had experienced minor demonic tribulations before. Almost everyone present here was the gathering of the peak combat power of the entire Kunlun realm. Now all these people obeyed Shao Qin. How to deploy, how to resist the devil race, these were all arranged by him. Unexpectedly, the moment Shao Qin returned from the Sky Dome realm, he would have to face such a large formation. Shao Qin was truly unprepared. However, at this time, he could not retreat. He carried the hopes of the entire Kunlun realm. He had to endure all the pressure. How much time do we have? Shao Qin was the first to ask. At most, 7 days. At the very least, 3 days. After the demon army reorganizes, they will charge over in half a day, a Kunlun Palace old man said. There was really not much time. Shao Qin nodded and continued. Are our people done reorganizing? In the 3 days that you were in the Sky Dome realm, the Dragon's Gate's Emochin already finished reorganizing all the cultivators of the various sects of the Kunlun realm. Speaking of which, we still have to thank you. If not for this wondrous girl from your Dragon's Gate, we would have had to work for several months. Emochin's contribution? When Shao Qin heard this, he did not find it strange. Emochin had already verified her abilities at the Dragon's Gate long ago. What's going on with the ghost race's side? After the Dongyue Ghost Emperor died, no one came to replace him? Shao Qin asked with a frown. The ghost domain was a great help. Ghost Mother Sun Shi and her disciple Qing Qing are currently reorganizing the ghost domain. They will probably need some time, someone answered. Shao Qin indicated that he understood. Then, he analyzed the strength of the demons and the Dark Church with the others. At this critical moment, all the people present had revealed everything they knew about the Nether sect and the demon clans. Naturally, the strongest person in the Dark Church is the Dark Church's Church Master, who is also the Treasure Master. This person is mysterious and unfathomable. He has never made a move before, but the fact that he could subdue the Celestial Demon Monarch, the Earth Demon Monarch, and the Ice Demon Monarch proves how horrifying his strength is. Shao Qin indicated his agreement. Then, he said, I'll deal with this person. Secondly, there are the 2 Vice Church Masters under him, Xing Wang and Fa Wang. Their strengths are strange, stronger than regular primes. After that, there are the 18 demon monarchs that everyone is more familiar with. You should have interacted with them before. 18 demon monarchs, 9 primes, and 9 half-step primes. With the experts here and the Holy Lord of some Holy Lands, they should be able to deal with them. The crucial thing was who would deal with Xing Wang and Fa Wang, these 2 troublesome people. I'll do it. With my strength, delaying the 2 should not be difficult, the Kunlun Palace's palace master said. The Kunlun Palace's palace master asked sullenly. With his strength, delaying these 2 would not be difficult. Just based on this, it looked like the Kunlun realm and the demonic world had an even chance of victory. Aside from this, what we are most worried about is the demonic god. That's right. Every minor demonic tribulation is to obtain enough fresh blood and souls to sacrifice to the demonic god. The demon race has been preparing for this for tens of thousands of years. This time, the demonic god will definitely appear in the Kunlun realm. I heard that the Treasure Master captured nearly half of the elite cultivators of the heavenly starry ocean, including several Holy Lord, in preparation to summon the demonic god. The demonic god, the primes present, and the Kunlun Palace's elders all fell silent. The demonic god was a huge problem. No matter how one thought about it, they all felt some despair. At that time, I will summon the deity race ancestor, and Ing Zongtian will summon the soul of the Bushan Palace's founder. They should be able to deal with it. Emperor Forsaken spoke, breaking the silence. Our corpse race also has a 10,000-year-old demonic corpse. We can use it at the crucial moment, the heaven-punishing corpse god said. Suddenly, Ing Zongtian said, you all forgot an important point. The demonic world's demonic beasts have many peak demonic beasts. They are no weaker than sovereign martial emperors. Furthermore, there are many demonic beasts. At that time, we might end up surrounded. After a few rounds of analysis, no matter how one looked at it, the deep abyss demonic world was stronger than the Kunlun realm. Furthermore, it was not just a little stronger but more than double or triple. Just in terms of peak combat power, the deep abyss demonic world had more primes than the Kunlun realm. After the discussion ended, the Kunlun Palace's palace master handed a banner to Shaoqin. This is the Kunlun banner. After you refine it, there will always be a banner flying behind you. Every cultivator in battle will see the banner when they look up. This is the use of the Alliance Chief. As long as the banner is still there, it means that you are not dead. This will infinitely boost the confidence of the Kunlun realm's cultivators. Shao Chun received the Kunlun banner and entered deep thought. He somewhat understood why the 5 old men set this up for him earlier. If Shao Chun was not strong enough, the Kunlun banner would break not long after the battle. This would undoubtedly lower the morale of the entire Kunlun realm's cultivators. Don't worry. I will properly refine it. I will definitely persevere until the last moment, Shao Chun said seriously. The Kunlun Palace's palace master smiled and said, if Sang Mu knew that his successor was this strong, he would definitely be overjoyed. Shao Chun looked at the other party and entered deep thought. He asked, could it be that you know Sang Mu? Ah, not only do I know him, but if not for him, this old man would not have to run to the Kunlun Palace in such a sullen manner. The Kunlun Palace's palace master laughed loudly and said, however, this has also helped me. I am the Saber Demon. I once competed with him in the Sky Dome realm. After arriving in the Kunlun realm, we continued to compete. Who knew? He died right after he became king. How unfortunate! The Saber Demon. Shao Chen's eyes lit up. He had heard of this person before. The one who fought with Sang Mu in the 5-nation youth competition back then was this person. Unexpectedly, due to fate, this person became the Kunlun Palace's palace master. No wonder that saber might was so scary. It looks like you have heard of me. I really wish to have a good fight with you. That way, I can fulfill my final wish of fighting with Sang Mu. Unfortunately, I no longer have this opportunity. In at most 7 days, the demons will be charging over. The Saber Demon sighed, revealing a complicated expression on his unkempt face. Shao Chen's expression was similarly complicated. He muttered to himself as he looked in the direction of the distant heavenly starry ocean. 7 days later, I will be fighting with that person. Will I win? I have to. Chapter 1525. After the final discussion ended, it was time to mobilize everyone. The main peak of Kunlun Mountain became the gathering place of various experts. Several experts volunteered to come to the main peak of Kunlun Mountain. Most of the older generation experts gathered at the summit, where the main hall of the Kunlun Palace was. The outstanding talents of the younger generation and the outstanding talents of the Golden Age gathered at the Heavenly Dew Divine Spring. Now that the Heavenly Dew Divine Spring was sealed, countless experts stood guard in secret. The reason why the youths liked to gather here was simple. Most of the outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm had soaked in the Heavenly Dew Divine Spring before. This included Shaochen. Back then, he had fought Di Wuk in this Heavenly Dew Divine Spring, slowly rising to prominence in the Kunlun continent. Whoosh! 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 Figures flashed, and two people descended from the sky, standing side by side. They were the sons of the former three holy masters of the Tianwu domain, Xiahou Ju and Feng Wuji. These two had a good relationship and usually traveled together. The moment they showed themselves, several people immediately recognized them. Among the younger generation, these two were the cream of the crop. They had already been influential people for a long time. During the Golden Age, they had all obtained fortuitous encounters. This was especially so after they obtained the help of the deity race to forge their deity statues. Their strength and cultivation improved very quickly. A king's might was emitted from the two of them, causing many people to be astonished. What a strong emperor's might! Unexpectedly, these two already advanced to sovereign martial emperor. This is expected, right? Diwuk advanced to sovereign martial emperor a year ago. These two are so close to Diwuk. Their talent is not bad and they have… whoosh! Suddenly, a cold intent came from the sky. Three figures quickly flew over from the distance. When these three got closer, they discovered that they were two men and one woman. The woman was the current sect master of the Haotian sect, Shui Lingling. The men were Enjuanshi and Bai Wuxue. The three also gave off the emperor's might of a sovereign martial emperor, attracting the attention of many. More importantly, the sovereign emperor's might of these three was even denser and steadier than that of Xiahou Ju and Feng Wuji. Vaguely, there was already a trace of the Holy Lord's aura, which was no less than that of the emperors of the ninth heaven. After leaving the savage battlefield, the three entered closed-door cultivation and only came out recently. As the disciple of the Thunder King, Enjuanshi's foundation was naturally extraordinary. As for Shui Lingling, she possessed the resources of an entire sect. As for Bai Wuxue, after he refined the eternal ice that Shao Qin gave him, he finally advanced to sovereign martial emperor. The three of them had not relied on the power of faith to be conferred the title of king. Instead, they had relied on their foundation and fortuitous encounters. After being conferred the title of king, they would naturally be stronger than the two saints. Shui Lingling, Bai Wuxue, and Enjuanshi, the three of you are actually conferred kings as well. Xiahou Ju exclaimed in shock, a look of shock flashing in his eyes. Bai Wuxue smiled and said, "Why not? Do you want to have a competition to see who is the true sovereign martial emperor? Is it interesting? The demonic calamity is upon us, and the final battle is at hand. If you want to compete, let's see who can kill more demons." Suddenly, a voice interrupted the two's conversation. Only the voice could be heard, but no one could be seen. The voice reverberated for a while. When it stopped, the owner of the voice finally revealed himself. A black-clad man with an indifferent expression stood on a stone pillar, hugging a treasure sword as he looked at the crowd. Yan Shi-san. Some of the Profound Domain's people immediately recognized Yan Shi-san. This was the top swordsman of the Profound Domain's younger generation. He cultivated the killing sword. After not seeing him for many years, his aura had become even colder than before. However, the killing chi in his eyes was even more easily hidden, no sharpness visible at all. No one could guess Yan Shi-san's strength. However, he did not fear it at all. Given the sovereign might of Shui Lingling and the others, they were definitely sovereign martial emperors at the very least. How lively! Unexpectedly, there are so many old friends here. Laughter rang out. Qi Wuxue and the White Bone Sovereign's descendant, Long Fei, walked over with smiles on their faces. Qi Wuxue had a wanton and unrestrained nature. He was indifferent to worldly affairs, and his smile never faded. Those who liked him said that he was an optimistic person. Those who disliked him said that he had an evil air that would never fade. The various influential people of the younger generation appeared here for only one purpose: to wait for the impending demonic calamity. As the crowd chatted, more people arrived. However, this time, it was not just one or two people who came. Emo Chen led the Dragon's Gate's people. The The chubby Kim Taeho, the Azura races Lan Xiaobai and Lan Yu, the Sky Dome realms Xianyuan Zhantian, Gong Yangyu, Yu Bingyun, and the others. Even further behind were the Sun Palaces Chu Yang, Fu Hongyao, the Northern Sea Alliances Yi Chen, Di Xinhan, and the other experts of the Heavenly Starry Ocean mixed in with the Dragon's Gates group. It's the Dragon's Gates people. There are so many experts. Unexpectedly, the Dragon's Gate actually gathered so many outstanding young talent. That's not right. There seems to be some other outstanding talents of the Heavenly Starry Ocean mixed in. Could they all be the Dragon's Gate's people now? That should not be the case. After all, the Heavenly Starry Ocean's Gate is the only major sect left. Only the Dragon's Gate can take the lead. The arrival of the Dragon's Gate's people made the Heavenly Dew Divine spring even livelier. After a while, 3 strong auras rushed over. They were the fiend races Bai Yuan Su and Kong Yuan. More and more people arrived. Sima Lingxian, Ba Tu and Ba Yen, the descendants and disciples of the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, rushed over as well. Demonic Qi? Suddenly, someone sensed the presence of a trace of demonic Qi, which immediately alerted countless people. However, when they saw the owner of the demonic Qi, they relaxed slightly. The one who came was the human demon C's absolute genius, Dugu Ao. Dugu Ao seemed to feel that his identity was somewhat complicated, so he did not stick close to the crowd. Instead, he stood far away, closing his eyes and entering deep thought. Dugu Ao was a demon mixed blood. However, now that the human demon C had joined the Kunlun Realms camp, they could be considered on the same side. Although the people here hated the demons to the bone, they would not make a move on their companions. After half a day, nearly all the outstanding young talents of the entire Kunlun realm had gathered here. However, no matter how the crowd counted, they discovered that there was a very important person who did not come. Di Wuk. As the Divine Son, Shao Chen possessed outstanding talent. His strength was even more so. However, everyone knew that there was a huge rift between Shao Chen and Shao Chen. This time, Shao Chen was leading the Demon Resistance Alliance. No one knew if Shao Chen would put down his grudge and rush over. Xiaoju? Di Wuk? Are you sure he is not coming? Could it be that he is going to be a coward? Someone mocked with a cold smile. He is probably too embarrassed to come. Before the Blue Dragon King rose up, he was always at odds with Shao Chen, trying to kill him several times. Xiahou Ju showed a troubled expression, not knowing how to answer. Humph! A cold snort rang out, and golden light filled the sky. A person bathed in golden light appeared above everyone. Who else could it be but Di Wuk? Di Wuk coldly glanced at the people mocking him. Then, he withdrew his aura and landed in a deserted place. Shao Chen's expression was cold, unreadable, as if he did not want anyone to get close to him. Only the youths that Shao Chen glared at felt pressure. Cold sweat trickled down their backs, not daring to say anything more. How strong! This was everyone's evaluation of Di Wuk. He competed with Shao Chen for the title of Luck's favored one. Although he lost, his strength still rendered most people speechless. Not long after Di Wuk arrived, a person flew over from the Kunlun Palace's peak. This person wore snow-white clothes, and his long hair fluttered in the wind. His face was delicate as he held his saber and landed firmly. The Blue Dragon King, Shao Chen. The moment this person landed, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. Many gazes either showed respect or helplessness, looking incredibly complicated. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not long after Shao Chen appeared, many older generation experts landed and stood behind him. The 7 primes, the 5 elders of the Kunlun Palace, the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, and the various holy lords, they were all powerful experts, influential people. However, these people all followed behind Shao Chen silently. There was no need to describe the identity of the strongest person in the Kunlun realm. Clearly, the experts of both the old and new generations gathered for one purpose: to resist the demons and save the Kunlun realm. Diwuk looked at Shao Qin and said slowly, unexpectedly, I will fight alongside you one day. Even my master will stand behind you. Shao Qin said calmly, the demonic calamity is coming. Naturally, we have to put down all grudges. I welcome you coming. At Shao Qin's height, standing at the peak of the Kunlun realm, many of the grudges of the past were like floating clouds at the summit. Chapter 1526. The experts of both the old and the new generations gathered here. Nearly all the martial emperor experts of the entire Kunlun realm were here. There were more than 2,000 of them. It was hard to imagine that so many martial emperors would step forward. Aside from the many young experts rising up in the Golden Age, many white-haired old men who had retired from the world and lived in seclusion all stepped forward at this moment. With the old and the new doubling, the number of experts in the Kunlun realm reached its highest in the past 10,000 years. After the peak of the martial epoch passed, rarely had so many Emperor Wu appeared in another age. Perhaps the heavenly Tao knew of the danger this time and could not bear to see the Kunlun realm destroyed. However, the situation was still not optimistic. Although there were many Emperor Wu, there were only 100-odd sovereign martial emperors. Compared to the vast number of Emperor Wu, there were simply too few. After all, the Golden Age gave these geniuses too little time to grow. Not every outstanding talent could be as lucky as Shui Lingling, Bai Wuxue, Yan Shisan, and the others, obtaining their own fortuitous encounters. In a very short time, they succeeded in being conferred king, advancing to sovereign martial emperor. What a pity! There are so many outstanding talents here. They are much stronger than our generation. If they had more time, they would not be like this. How unfortunate! If they had another 10 years, no, just 5 years, it would have been enough. The many older generation cultivators sighed as they looked at the group of young outstanding talents. Shao Chen felt deeply moved. The treasure master probably saw this point as well, which was why he decided to make a move. The treasure master would not give the Kunlun realm any chance. Suddenly, Shao Chen opened his heavenly eye, and a divine eye shot out from it. Then, it flew out, crossing mountains, rivers, and cities for 5,000 kilometers. After flying for 5,000 kilometers, it hovered in the air like Shao Chen's eyes, looking at the treasure master's island. All of a sudden, he saw a shocking scene. The air was filled with demonic race cultivators riding demonic beasts. They were so densely packed that they looked like ants. Their numbers were unimaginable. There were also several powerful demonic beasts that gave off Emperor's might. They led the demonic beasts around them, waiting for orders like sovereigns. These were demon king-level ferocious beasts. They were no weaker than sovereign martial emperors of the Kunlun realm. There were flaming demon lions, black gold snakes, twin-headed demonic eagles, and many others. Shao Chen was shocked. There were so many king-level beasts among the demonic beasts. The situation was not looking good. However, this was not what he wanted to see. The god eyes hovering in the air turned, and his gaze pierced through the layers of barriers covering the treasure master island. Shao Chen saw a square. In the middle of the square there was a black altar. Boundless demonic chi rose, and it was especially frightening. What was even more frightening was that a soul that could be seen with the naked eye would occasionally rise from the dark altar cavern. His face contorted as if he was screaming in pain as he was sucked into the dark clouds in the sky. Before the altar, Xing Wang and Fa Wang stood beside the treasure master. Behind them were the 18 demon monarchs, followed by the sovereign martial emperors of the demon race, and finally, the ordinary Emperor Wu of the demon race. A rough count put the number of Emperor Wu of the demon race at least 2,000. What was even more frightening was the number of sovereign martial emperors. There were more than 400 of them. Furthermore, there were those king-level demonic beasts. Emperor Wu had 2 to 3 times more than the Kunlun realm. This was an extremely terrifying number. Shao Chen could imagine what kind of enormous pressure the Kunlun realm's Emperor Wu would face at that time. Could he hold on? Xiao Chen was not confident. Xiao Chen fixed his gaze on the treasure master's back, feeling somewhat complicated. Church master, someone is watching you. The treasure master did not turn his head back. He said indifferently, I know. Help me deal with it. Is it the Blue Dragon King? Interesting. As Xing Wang spoke, he suddenly turned around. His gaze immediately met the heavenly eye hovering in the air extremely far away. On the other side, Fa Wang also turned around at this moment. He smiled and said, I'll test him out first. Not just anyone can watch me. Suddenly, a black flame appeared on Fa Wang's fingertip. Then, he pointed at the air, and the black flame released a boundlessly resplendent black light in Xiao Chen's eyes. Whoosh! What a strange flame! Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat as he quickly withdrew his gaze. However, he was already too late. A beam of black light quickly headed for the heavenly eye. Divine Lightning Eye. With a thought, Xiao Chen drove the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning in his sea of consciousness. The heavenly eye, which was millions of kilometers away, immediately sent out a bolt of lightning tribulation to strike the strange black demonic flame. Then, he quickly stopped circulating, and the heavenly eye quickly flew back. You can break Fa Wang's abyssal demonic flame, but can you dodge Xing Wang's axe? Xing Wang smiled coldly. Suddenly, an axe with black chains at the end fell from above the heavenly eye in the distance, hacking at Xiao Chen's heavenly eye. Scatter! At the crucial moment, Xiao Chen chose to scatter his heavenly eye. The heavenly eye immediately scattered into countless beams of light, dodging this axe strike. The price of forcibly scattering his heavenly eye would prevent Xiao Chen from using the heavenly eye for some time. However, this was still better than smashing the other party's axe. After all, eye techniques were not Xiao Chen's strong suit. There were not many ways he could salvage the situation. At Kunlun Mountain, after scattering his heavenly eye, Xiao Chen took a step back, his expression changing slightly. Blue Dragon King, what's going on? What did you see? The people at the side asked quickly, knowing that Xiao Chen was using an eye technique. They urgently wanted to know the movements of the demonic world. Xiao Chen did not rush to answer. His face suddenly sank, and the Tao disk of great Tao energy appeared behind him. Then, it condensed into a line, and Xiao Chen shouted, Tao! Immediately, Saber Tao energy that surpassed Saber intent, Saber soul, and Saber domain surged in Xiao Chen's body. His long hair fluttered. In an instant, Xiao Chen was like a sharp, unsheathed saber, boundlessly sharp. The surrounding people unconsciously took a step back. Xiao Chen pointed with his finger, and a saber light flashed like lightning. Ka-Xie. 5 million kilometers away, this saber light struck the axe that seemed to fall from the sky. On the Treasure Master Island, Xing Wang took a step back. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips as he revealed a berserk expression. Xing Wang actually lost to Xiao Chen from a distance. Enough. You are not a match for him. There is no need to let your emotions affect your decisions. Continue paying respects to the demonic god. We will be heading out soon. Yes. The rage in Xing Wang's eyes vanished. After the treasure master reprimanded him, he stretched out his hand and withdrew the strange axe. On Kunlun Mountain, Xiao Chen gave a simple account of what he saw and experienced. Everyone was startled. Unexpectedly, in just a few moments, Xiao Chen already clashed with the 2 vice-church masters of the Dark Church. Prepare yourselves. They will charge over before sunset tomorrow at the soonest. Xiao Chen said softly as he rested with his eyes closed. The place fell silent. However, no one retreated amid the silence. They all quietly brewed. 2 hours passed, 4 hours passed, and just as the setting sun was about to set, the sky in the distance suddenly darkened, as if night had descended early. They are here. Indeed, the demon race had arrived. Those black clouds covered the sky. This was the main force of the demon race. The final battle had not started yet, but a bitter atmosphere had already spread. Everyone knew that this battle could not be avoided. The demon race had already retreated to the last step. Kunlun Mountain was the final barrier. There was no way to continue retreating. Either you die or I die. Once defeated, one would become a slave or even a sacrifice. Their family and friends might suffer the same tragedy as the cultivators of the heavenly starry ocean, dying painful and cruel death. They could not retreat or be defeated. On the mountain peak, be it the outstanding talents of the younger generation or the older generation cultivators, their eyes all turned bloodshot. They were like wild beasts, wild and raging. Behind Kunlun Mountain, many war chariots and warships carrying the high-ranked cultivators of the Kunlun realm appeared. These were troops made up of the blue-robed emperor, martial sages, and martial monarchs. There were tens of millions of cultivators of the various races. They were insignificant. However, when gathered together, they were even stronger than Emperor Wu and the blue-robed emperor on the mountain. They were extremely important. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 1 hour later, the demon army arrived. The treasure master led the 18 demon monarchs and the 2 vice church masters to the very front, coldly eyeing the people of Kunlun Mountain. Seeing the vast army, many of the youths on the mountain felt their arms tremble slightly. However, no one took even half a step back. Ha ha! I have many old friends, and I am not a heartless person. As long as Emperor Wu enters my dark church, he will not die. The treasure master said as he looked at the cyclic astral lord, Shao Qin, and the others. Scram! You bastard! You killed the people of my Kunlun realm like pigs and dogs, sacrificing them to the demonic god. You want us to surrender? Dream on. Even if we die in battle, we will not surrender to you. The crowd raged. Several Emperor Wu, who had lost relatives in the heavenly starry ocean, cursed loudly. Countless people followed suit, shouting, "We will not surrender even if we die." That's exactly what I wanted. The more sacrifices, the better. The treasure master said coldly, not caring. Suddenly, Shao Qin opened his eyes and looked at the treasure master. His eyes flickered with electric light. The treasure master stared at the other party and said through clenched teeth, enunciating every word, "Senior Thunder King, it has already reached this point. Are you still going to continue lying?